Commander just got a ton of cards banned in the format. All right, let's take a look at this. We got Dockside Extortionist. 2 mana, 1/2 Goblin Pirate. Now, of all the cards banned, this one saw it coming. All right, if you're upset that Dockside Extortionist is banned, I think there was enough heat on this particular card. There were heat on a lot of cards, but this one, I mean, in my opinion, I'm not a commander player. I'm a modern. I'm a legacy. I'm a pioneer player. And all the time when some card gets banned, people are like, how could this happen? And they're like, well, you're playing with the $100 card. That's the chase card because it's played in all the tier 1, tier 0 decks. Of course, it has a targets on its back. And Dockside Extortionist, I've done enough research on cheaters to see how busted this card is to a lot of combo starts or even just have an enormous presence or advantage in a particular game. So Dockside Extortionist absolutely got the axe. And Dockside Extortionist was not the only one to get the axe. It's not the only creature on here. Nadu actually gets banned. That's unbelievable. The 3 mana 3/4 Bird Wizard that got like immediately broken in Modern apparently had a role to play in Commander as well. And the problem with Nadu is the way that it works, where this creature becomes the target of a spell or ability. Reveal the top card of your library. If it's a land card, put it onto the battlefield. Otherwise, put it into your hand. This ability triggers only twice each turn. So, like, every single time you're going to trigger it with, like, a card like Shuko or a lot of the Commander cards, right? You know, there's a lot of free 0 mana equip costs in Commander, even more than Shuko. Nadu triggers, and you get it onto another creature, hit it twice. And it's even more painful to combo off in Commander because you have, like, 99 cards. I mean, it's bad enough in Modern and even Legacy with 60 cards. So anyway, and Nadu also got the ban. Now these people could have seen coming. And you know what, Nadu? You came, but you left pretty quickly. Not too many people are invested in Nadu. It didn't become a staple of the format. Mana Crypt! They banned Mana Crypt! How could that? What's going on here? The 0 mana artifact. At the beginning of your upkeep, you get to flip a coin. Now, if you lose the flip, Mana Crypt deals 3 damage to you. And I have to admit, it does add double colorless. I have to admit, I've actually died to my own Mana Crypt more times than I would like to admit. So the banning of Mana Crypt actually saves me in a way. I'm probably not going to die to my Mana Crypt nearly as often anymore. Because you're going to play Mana Crypt, you know what? But you have to play in a busted deck. Because if you're going to play in a fair deck, you actually die, in my opinion. But that was the thing. So the Commander Rules Committee, or what is it called? It's called the RC. They explained that, you know what, they were trying to slow the game down. Cards like Mana Crypt, cards like Dockside Extortionist, they speed things up. So they want to slow the games down for people who like the slow games. Apparently, people can't rule 0 these free mana cards out of the way because it's power. All right, it's power. This is the closest we have to Moxen in this game. Closest to like Black Lotus. I mean, it basically is the Black Lotus. Then they banned 3 cards? Absolutely not, Moritz, because they also banned the Black Lotus of the format. Jeweled Lotus, also now on the ban list. The 0 mana artifact, tap, sacrifice Jeweled Lotus, add 3 mana in any one color. Spend this mana only to cast your commander. So, in fact, by banning after banning this card, like, okay, let's talk about Mana Crypt. You can actually play this in Vintage. That's the next best format that you can play this card in. This card has way less home than it ever did in the history of Magic the Gathering because it needs to be played. Needs to be put in a deck with Commander. And I understand there are some janky legacy decks that can utilize, that basically can copy the mana. They can basically use the mana out of this thing through a really twisted, convoluted interaction. But essentially, this card is worthless. I guess the next format is like Canadian Highlander, I guess. Now, full disclaimer, I actually own these 2 cards. Now, which sort of makes it feel very weird for me because I don't even play Commander all that often. I probably cracked my Jeweled Lotus like a total of 4 times, probably in my life. 4 times. This is 450 Canadian dollars gone. It's toast. Adios, kaput. And like, so I have some weird feelings about the ban, because this is financially the hardest hitting I've ever been hit by a ban. But I barely play the format. Like, I play, I don't know, 5 times a year. So it's not like I lost much because I barely used the cards in the first place. Although I'd like my Jeweled Lotus. I like my turn 1 Sphaloon. That was pretty cool. We got Trunic. Thanks so much for a huge super chat. Want to shake up the format? Ban Dockside. Want to upset the community? Ban Jeweled Lotus. Want to piss off the entire community? Ban the Crypt. Nadu died for the sins of casuals. Very upsetting. Well, no, but even for competitive players, like competitive, I think Nadu is a stupid card. It's a pretty bad interaction. It's like really bad to combo off. They don't always combo off, so you do have to force them to do it. But yeah, these 2 bans were just weird. Because like I said, usually when cards get banned, it's something like Dockside, where there's a lot of heat on this card. A lot of people don't like Dockside. A lot of people voice their concern about Dockside. People voice their concern about Rhystic Study. People voice their concern about Thassa's Oracle. So if these cards one day kick the bucket, I mean, you should at least somewhat see it coming. But Mana Crypt? Where, I mean, I understand it's a split thing. I've polled all of you, and we could do a poll right now. How many people like to play slow games, and how many people like to play fast games? Let's do a poll like that right now. We gotta do a poll. How do I get this thing? Hold on, we're gonna get a poll. Let me just... How do I pop this thing out? Okay, we're gonna pop out chat. Chat, you're live. Okay, let's do a quick poll. Start a Q&A. No, I don't want to start a Q&A. I want to start a poll. Do you like slow games? Let's say 30 minutes plus. Or I should just say, do you like slow games? Okay. 30... No, let's put it 45 minutes plus. There we go. Actually, I could do a bunch of them. Okay, let's say under 30 minutes... 30 minutes to 1 hour. 1 hour plus. There we go. Perfect. Perfect. That looks great. So let's start that poll. Let's wait for the results to come in, because that's what they're basically policing here. It's basically what they're trying to police here. By getting rid of the Mana Crypt, by getting rid of the Jeweled Lotus, they're going to slow down the games significantly. Now, a lot of people are saying that their commanders are completely unplayable with these bans. I think they're over-exaggerating. Like, okay, I'm not that deep in the format, and certainly there's gonna... Getting your commander out on turn 1/turn 2 is always going to be better than getting it out turn 3, turn 4. But one way or another, you can, at least at a casual level, you can still play your commander. You're just going to have to replace it with the next best mana rocks in the format. We got a super chat from MTG Gaming Bob. They banned a Mana Crypt and not Soul Ring. Thank you very much for your super chat. Shenanigans. They actually explained that. So they had a very good explanation. They just said, Soul Ring probably should be banned. But, it is institutionalized into the format. They're not going to ban Soul Ring because it is part of the identity. Almost like how Brainstorm is part of the identity of Legacy. It's effectively Ancestral Recall. Like, if we look at something like Brainstorm, basically anyone in Legacy knows that this card is super high power. Probably should have kicked the bucket based on power level. But, you know what? It's what people play the format for. That is the identity of the format. They also said, you know what? It's okay to have fast starts sometimes. You can have some fast starts. Sometimes it's good to be lucky. But if you're like, well, the problem with too many of these super fast mana rocks is, well, you can be lucky every single time. Why not ban Mana Vault then? Maybe it's next, Thomas. That is a great question. What is on the potential, what is also potentially on the ban, on an upcoming ban list? Mana Vault. So, of course, if you can't play other fast mana like Mana Crypt, you're going to be leaning towards the Mana Vaults. We're going to create, what else can we look up? Grim Monolith. That's another one. these cards, Soul Ring is used far more in decks. Well, of course, because it's cheap, right? Costs nothing. These cards are more expensive, so it's way less used because people just can't afford them. Dark Ritual? Well, Dark Ritual is a one-time shabam. I mean, like, you use it and then that's it. So you better use it. If you don't use it, you lose it, effectively. But things like a Grim Monolith can be repeatedly used throughout the game. Same thing with Mana Vaults. Well, Jeweled Lotus was a one-time thing, just like Black Lotus. Mana Crypt, however, I always thought this card was insane, which is why I love playing with it. I love this card. You're telling me I can play a Mirror Regery on turn 1 through the power of an island and a Mana Crypt. I was completely on I was completely up for that. Okay, where's our poll here? Okay, we've got, so the people who like slower games, you guys are super in the minority. Like super in the only 1/5 of you, which is still a lot of people. I shouldn't say 1/5, like more like 1/6. With at 17%, you're in a horrible minority here. People want slower games. They want the social interaction, and also it's very interesting to note that like a third of you, or maybe like somewhere between a quarter and a third, want the 1 hour plus games. They want something memorable instead of like, oh, you comboed off first before I comboed off. Okay, that's great, but not to say that that's the wrong way to play Commander. I mean, I have nothing wrong with quick games. You just play another one. Some people like to get as many games as possible in a night to maximize the chance that their deck does something in that night. Because if there's only one game and your deck doesn't do anything, well, then you're screwed. Kitsune, if we slow down the game, give me Emrakul or Sway of the Stars. I don't disagree, but you know what? They keep those cards on the ban list for some other reason. Kalantara, Soul Ring is saved in part of being so cheap. It's cheap. Yeah, it's basically. I don't know. Well, no. Okay, look. I read a lot of silly arguments on the internet that like Mana Crypt gets banned. Like somehow this benefits Wizards of the Coast that they ban Dockside Extortion is banned and Mana Crypt is banned and Jeweled Lotus is banned. That is absolutely insane. There is nothing more Wizards of the Coast wants than expensive cards to exist in their card pool, because that gives them great reprint equity. They love Jeweled Lotus is $100. They love it because every single time that they could just slot this one card in a random Commander product and it raises the expected value of the whole thing. It gives you a chase card to look for. Like, this isn't Modern. This is not Modern or Legacy where they want to shake things up to get you to buy other cards. They knew you were already buying this. Remember, the Commander Rules Committee is not Wizards of the Coast. They are not in charge of this. They have a completely separate, it's not even a faction of Wizards of the Coast. It's basically just a community at large that is dealing with this, that they're separate from the financial incentives of Wizards of the Coast. Or actually, I want to say they're completely separated, but, you know, pretty largely separated. If Soul Ring was on the reserve list and cost $200, it would have been banned. I don't know. I have no idea. So Ryan says, I look forward to this FNF. Maybe we should have a poll. How many people liked this this BNR announcement? Are you happy or sad about the BNR? Okay, let's start a poll. You happy or sad about the bans? Love it! Meh! Hate it. My monies! Okay, start this poll. It's going to be a great poll. It's going to be a great conversation that we have today. So I'm in the Mac camp. I'm not going to lie. I really like playing with these cards, but I just don't play this format often enough to really care. Like I said, I've literally cast this Jeweled Lotus 4 times in my life. I've cast this a lot of cards. I've probably died to my Mana Crypt more than I've cast Jeweled Lotus for some reason. But that was just the luck of the cards around here. Vex says, frankly, they should have gone further with fast mana, but I'll take it. And that's, I mean, maybe they will. I mean, maybe this is the start of something that is going to happen in the future. So, like, if you're not going to be playing with Jeweled Lotus and Mana Crypt, and you're going to start a fill those slots with the Mana Vault and the Grim Monolith and maybe Lotus Petal, Chrome Mox. I mean, maybe they're next. If they get abused to a point, then I mean, obviously they have now set the foundation to the philosophy. Games need to be slower, not faster. And so they're going to go in this direction. Fast mana, not safe. Fast mana, except Soul Ring. They said you can have Soul Ring. Soul Ring is A-okay. We got Valzoa says, Lord of Lightning. Not gonna lie, I just sold my Jeweled Lotus not long ago, so lucky. You are very lucky. You're Nostradamus around here. D Lost says, more upset about Nadu. That's a weird thing to be upset about. I guess you just built that deck at the wrong time. Toilet Doc, fun thing to do. Actually, not fun. Fun, not guaranteed. Wait for the power creep to catch up so these cards get unbanned, probably around Modern Horizons 5 or not. I wonder if it's worth speculating on, like, a Jeweled Lotus and Mana Crypt. This is... I hear people are celebrating on Reddit, but there is so much hate on this on Twitter over this. I've been looking at the quoted retweets. They are insane. People are just absolutely throwing up over this this ban. Not to mention, it's very... I'm assuming there's a lot of discourse about how this is affecting CEDH, and of course it is going to affect CEDH. Now, I'm not that in tune with the format to know, but I'm assuming they ban these cards for how they said they banned these cards. They want to slow the games down, and I'm assuming that's at a casual level and not at a competitive level. Because at a competitive level, it's still going to be blazing fast. We got Lacrimorta. Glad Dockside is gone. Sayonara, Dockside. Don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. I can't believe how busted that card is. Upset at Mana Crypt. I actually tried to buy a Grim Monolith last week, and I think this Card Kingdom said they couldn't fulfill my order. Someone knew. Someone knew. Anyway, yeah, Dockside is gone. I suggest we repeat the poll for individual card banned. Oh, that's a great idea. I like that idea. Okay, so where are we standing right now with the poll? Most people love it, but I mean, we got quarter. This is a tough ban because, like, one way or another, at like a casual level, these were still super popular. I understand I mean, I've heard people complain about Soul Ring and Mana Crypt and Mana Vault and all the fast mana, and I think they're I think their complaints are very justified, especially since I think most people, just like we polled, most people like the slower games overall than the fast games. Probably that instead of gauging things by power level, I know it's like, oh, I have a power 7 deck, I have a power 9. People just say, hey, this is a fast deck, fast mana type of game. It's like, we're trying to get this game done in 15 minutes. Are you in or are you out? Okay, we're going to try to make this game done in like in an hour. Are you in or are you out? Sheelan says they did not ban Mana Crypt and Jeweled Lotus because they wanted to slow the game down. Okay, maybe I misunderstood what they said in the quotes. What's not the quotes? Where are we? Maybe I misread something. Okay, we got Mana Crypts coming down for no mana turn 1. It's quite possible to have the explosive start Mana Crypt into a Signet or Talisman. And another Signet, leaving the player with untapped 5 mana on turn 2. In games going 12 plus turns, the accumulated threat of damage from Mana Crypt provides a reasonable counterbalance for its explosive effect. But when you are snowballing in a turn 6 to 8 win, it's a meaningless drawback. Turn 6 win is super, super fast. I disagree with that premise. Another card that can give you 5 mana on turn 2. Jeweled Lotus does it without even needing a good hand, even though you're restricted in what you can do with the mana. 4 and 5 mana. Commanders can pack a significant punch nowadays. Often draw cards to make up for the one-shot mana, and defensive abilities such as Ward can be interacted with that early in the game. You could make an argument that maybe we're not talking about the same thing here. Maybe we're not talking about the same thing here. But if you ramp out like a 5 or 6 mana commander, I mean, you're putting a lot of power onto the battlefield very quickly, and you're going to shorten the game one way or another. They said nothing about fast games being problematic, but it being overpowered. What do you think what do you think happens when you have a lot of power very early on in the game? They even said the games end turn 6 to 8. Okay, maybe I'm not reading between the lines properly, but it's not going to be a dirtily game. It's just going to be a very powerful and usually game done soon game. Okay, we got Belord. I mean, those cards are now absolutely worthless since they can't be played in any format. Hey! Vintage, people. Mana Crypt still playable in Vintage. Probably gonna go down to like $10, but yeah. What about and Cube? People like playing this in Cube. What about people that bought collector booster boxes not long ago just to find these cards? They're absolutely out of luck. Really sucks for them. Dockside and Thassa's Oracle were the issues. Yeah, a lot of people voicing their opinion about Thassa's Oracle. They're like, whoa, Thassa's Oracle. What happened to this? Like, we're all complaining about Thassa's Oracle. What's up with this? Why does this thing stick around? I don't know. I guess it's just to give combo decks just a means to win. That's like how it is in the competitive formats like Legacy and Modern. It's just like there is usually like a convoluted way to win with what's it called? Laboratory Maniac, but like they just make it easy with Thassa's Oracle. But maybe it's time for it to go. I don't know. I don't play combo decks, and I don't really care, honestly, when I play against combo decks, so it's not really my thing. We should you could have a discussion about that. All right, how do people feel? Okay, they mostly love it. Meh, they hate it. All right, so then let's end this poll. Let's start talking individual bans. Okay, let's individual bans. How do you like Dockside ban? Love it. How many red players are in the house? Hate it. Okay, let's start the Dockside ban. Dockside ban discussion. All right, the 2-mana 1/2 Goblin Pirate. It'd be Goblin. It's a Goblin Pirate. Oh, I actually, you know what? I thought he was a monkey this entire time. I thought he was like a Ragavan. I guess, okay, I'm very sorry, Dockside. I thought you were a monkey the entire time. Okay, we got more super chats. Let's take a look at Dylan. Doesn't this just punish the expensive commanders? You're absolutely right. It punishes the expensive commanders like Agraxa and Itali. But you know what, Dylan? Commanders are expensive. They're supposed to be expensive. Like, you're not supposed to be able to cheat them in play too easily. They shouldn't be as easily cast as, say, a 3. Honestly, I don't really like the cheap commanders. I think cheap commanders are too cheap. They should have extra mana attached to it to make it harder to get into. So you want to talk about Itali? Well, okay, hold on. Okay, Itali. Oh, which Itali? I'm assuming this one. People love your Italis. Too many Italis out there. This card shows up on the show all the time. You just got to be more creative how you get it in play. You're gonna have to use them good old mana rock. You're gonna have to use that mana vault. It's not like you don't have options. You can play the Grim Monolith. You can play your mana vault. Mana vault's not on the reserve list, fortunately, for anyone that needs like 3 colorless mana. It is like the colorless dark ritual of the format. You want a option? Oh, you need something in between? Okay, hold on. What is it right now? Well, the people mostly love it. Okay, whatever. Okay, we'll do it again. You want the meh option. All right. How do you feel about Dockside ban? It's like, great! Meh. And... oops. Hate it. Get rid of that thing. Okay, you can go after it one more time. You need to add an answer. I don't play EDH Commander enough to feel impact. Well, then you can go meh. You can go meh. Dockside was still fine, in my opinion. However, every other card in that ban list does make sense. That's what I love about banning season. Everyone's like, that card was fine. There was nothing wrong with that card. Everyone else is a crybaby. But then you're like, yeah, every other card, yeah, that deserved to be banned. Dockside was long overdue. Should have left with the whole breacher. Oh, that's an interesting opinion. I mean, it does similar things, right? Except you could combo easier with whole breacher. The funny thing about Dockside is, like, this was a card, if you just didn't have any artifacts, like, it did nothing. It was powerless. It only depended on you playing with, like, Soul Ring and Mana Crypt and so on. All right, Elixir, let's take a look at your super chat. Sol Ring is printed in nearly every precon. Banning it would make all those products invalid. I'm not sure Wizards of the Coast can afford that marketing nightmare. I don't think it would be that big of a deal, to be honest, Elixir, because very often when cards get banned from pre-constructed decks, pre-cons, they usually have, like, the deck is legal so long as you play that exact 99 or that exact 60. And also, it's like a worthless card. It's like, what is it, like $2 or something? So I don't think it would be that big of a deal. But again, I think I would take them at their word. They banned the card for they left it alive. They let Sol Ring live for the sake of it being institutionalized into the format. It is part of the identity. The identity, people. Mana Crypt is only weird because it was color restricted. It was just a way to lower the format barrier of entry into CEDH. It's an interesting. So I mean, that's one good side to all this. CEDH overall is going to be a little bit cheaper. I was talking about this with my friends. You know, there's so many must-haves in decks. Like, oh, I must have this Mana Crypt. Oh, I must have this Jeweled Lotus. But now I got my slots now. I don't even know what to put in them. I have no idea what I'm going to put in there. Michael's like, I'm so glad I'm playing Highland or Gauntlet. Don't got to worry about mainstream bans. The only ban list is a reserve list there. We got Crazy Guy. I'm very sad. Literally just drew a Jeweled Lotus. Oh no! 2 weeks ago. And said, this card is $80. If it gets banned, it will drop to like 10 cents. Me and my stupid mouth. Yeah. Basically. Actually, I'm very curious to know where the price of Jeweled Lotus is going to go. Maybe it won't be 10 cents. Remember, I mean, hey, it's a great Black Lotus proxy. It still sees play in Canadian Highlander. We have another super chat from Geyer. Welcome back. I have to get rid of my Ishan Shade now that Fast Mana is gone. Fast Mana is gone. We gotta play slow Commander now. Slow. It's $40 now. It's free falling! It's free falling! Ooh. Okay, where's the poll? Okay, where are we on Dockside? Most people love the ban of Dockside. 54% says great. 30% are impartial. They may not even play Commander around here. Wow, I'm impressed though. 1/5 that you don't like it. I'm curious if it's for financial reasons or power level reasons, like you really wanted the card. Remember, Wizards of the Coast had didn't do anything about this. This was not Wizards of the Coast banning. Remember, this came from the quarterly update from the Commander RC. I mean, they had everything to do with this. They managed the format for Wizards of the Coast because they wouldn't want to do. If it was up to Wizards of the Coast, this card would never be banned. It would be absolutely immortal. Never. Okay, next up, let's do a little poll on Nadu. This should be probably very quick and easy. There's like no way this card. I am expecting a sub 5% people care about this card. How do you feel about Nadu banned? Do you feel great? Are you meh? A little meh on this one? Or do you hate it? Go for it. Nadu is honestly just like one of the absolute miserable design cards of all time. It's going to go down one of the worst things that they ever designed, period. I'm actually surprised it got broken in Commander. I thought it would be harder to assemble like this sort of combo that they had in both Legacy and Modern in Commander. But yeah, like no problem at all. Jeweled Lotus was so busted. It was in my Atraxas Grand Unifier CEDH deck. And that was like a problem. Like, Jeweled Lotus didn't really have much of a restriction to it. Like, it looked... Uh-oh, I got rid of all the... Oh, no, yeah, here we go. Jeweled Lotus, it looks like it has a restriction, but really, it should have just said, sacrifice Jeweled Lotus at 3 mana of any one color, spend this mana only to cast, like, a monocolor commander. Because, like, for the expense of multicolor commanders, it was just free ramp. It was, like, just strictly better, I don't know, the Mana Vault, effectively, essentially. Kitsune, idea. We make Conspiracy Commander with conspiracies. Oh, do we? Nadu is poorly designed health balance-wise for the game as a whole. Absolutely. Weird stereoscopic guy. Nadu must be banned as commander, but not in the 99. Oh, I don't... that still sounds pretty dangerous to me. Right. Oh, God, Ivan attracts a deck, and it does just fine without that, Lotus. That is the right attitude, Ryan. I imagine, at least on a casual level, you're all going to live. It's okay. It's okay. I mean, I'm not you're not going to be happy that you're like millions of dollars worth of cards just evaporated in thin air in a blink of a second, but you're going to live. CDH players, I cannot confirm or deny if you're going to live or not. I mean, that format's more hardcore, so I don't know. Okay, let's take a look at this poll. Everyone loves it. Wow, 10%? 10% don't like Nadu's ban. That's insane. I can't believe that. I'm actually speechless for words. Makes no sense to me. Okay, we're going to talk more about these bannings, but we got to talk about our sponsors today. Do you get some cards banned? Do you need to fill those last 2 cards in your 99? Well, look no further than FusionGamingOnline.com. In fact, maybe you players, you never... Oh, this is Guild of Ravnica. Sure, there's a new promotion today. We're gonna still... Oh, wait. 15% off Lorwyn and Morning Tide singles. Maybe you should replace that card with Thoughtseize or Cryptic Command or something rather. And by the way, when you buy your cards from FusionGamingOnline.com, which supports the channel, even supports it more when you use coupon code Nikachu at checkout for 5% off all your purchases. We're also going to thank Mana Traders, the premier place for renting Magic cards online. For the Magic Online client, so if you want to play Commander online, and you rent the cards, you don't worry about your cards getting banned, because when they get banned, it's really Mana Traders cards get banned because you're renting them anyway. You just send them back and rent a whole new deck. And as cards get banned, it doesn't affect your collection at all because you have access to every single card possible when you're renting with Mana Traders. And Magic Online supports both Commander and Dual Commander. For all you Commander players out there, you can support the channel using my Mana Traders link in the description below, or save 10% off your first 2 months using coupon code Nikachu_QTP. And back to talking about bans. Not that I'm qualified to talk about this subject, at least in this format. Matt Spread's like, Windharp needs to be banned. What is Canadian Highlander? You gotta Google it. They've got a different system for how they ban the card. It's like, I believe it's one-on-one Commander, but they have a different system for the ban list. It's very interesting and unique. Renting does seem to make more sense when it comes to bans. Absolutely. Okay, let's okay, we need a poll. Whoops. We need a poll on Mana Crypts. Let's start a poll over here. How do you feel about Mana Crypt ban? Love it. Meh. And hate it. This is gonna be the more interesting one. This one is where your finances went from amazing to nothing. I don't know where the price target is for this card after this ban, but holy crap, it's going to go for free. It's going to have a free fall. May as well ban every card that doesn't allow for interaction. Well, the thing about fast mana, at least from a competitive point of view, and I come from like Modern, Pioneer, Legacy, the fast mana is very largely banned in those formats. Like if we look at just... Mana Crypt, for example, banned in Legacy, restricted in Vintage, because these cards, they break the game by letting you do powerful things super fast and end the game really quickly before your opponents have any opportunity to catch up. Because, like, you know, your friends that are just going land go. Okay, my second land, play Signet or something, and then they're dead. I mean, they're dead. They didn't even know what they were walking into. They had absolutely no idea. Oko, Nadu, Uro. Oh yes, the team of Simic. Okay, we got Ecos with the super chat. Thank you so much, Ecos. The Lotus ban is funny because technically now only usable in Legacy. What are you talking about? You can't. Well, no. Only use I can think is doubling cube, but that sounds like a bad legacy deck. No, it can be played in the other commander variations of commander formats. I believe it has like a there is a I think Canadian Highlander has a point system which lets you play with this card. And we also have Charlie Peterson. Thanks so much for your super chat. Can we get a quick recap of the bans? I'm late. You're late. Well, here's the breaking news. Jewel Lotus banned. Mana Crypt banned. Nadu Winged Wisdom banned, and Dockside Extortionist banned. If you're looking to sell them, it's too late. The price is free falling. I'd be very surprised if anyone can sell any of these cards for like I'm surprised. I'd be very surprised if anyone can sell like a Dockside for even $20. I'm curious, like, what are the odds they reverse this ban? It's got to be greater than 0, because this is a very unpopular. This is a mostly unpopular ban. Let's take a look at the poll at the moment. Our poll is like, that's pretty heavy. You know, you don't even have more than half the people in the format enjoying Mana Crypt being banned. And then you got like 1/3 of the format just absolutely livid over this thing. Like, that's not a good sign. It's not, this is not like one deck in the format getting banned. And, you know, screw those players for playing the busted deck. There's like a card everyone played. Anyone who could afford it, would play. Or anyone, if you could always proxy. You know, there's nothing wrong with proxying in 2024. No one's gonna tattletale on you for proxying these days. Is that a proxy? No, I didn't see nothing. I didn't see. Okay, that's okay. I didn't see anything. I'm not gonna tell. I'm no snitch around here. Yeah, exactly. Just proxy. Nothing wrong with proxying these days. So yeah, these cards, these are like insanely popular, like absolutely mind-blowingly popular. And then they torched it. Not only that, like, so like in competitive formats, they've banned tons of expensive cards that were worth over $100 in the past. It's happened many times. This is, I think, the first time in a casual setting it happened. But like the card pool is much larger in a casual setting, way more than in a competitive setting. So to be banning Mana Crypt and Jeweled Lotus, I mean, that's like lighting millions of dollars on fire for like old local game stores. Chris says, I love playing against proxy decks. You like the challenge, don't you? Beanut Putter, love the name. I'm not spending $1,000 for a land that comes in untapped. You're talking about, like, you know, the dual lands like Underground Sea or something. Matty Matson, my local game store even allows proxies for official events, given its flesh and blood and people are generally more chill there. But yeah, proxies, my fellow Magic players. Maj is like, honestly, Mana Vault being banned is a good thing. It depends who you talk to. You know, like we just polled earlier, not everyone wants to play like a 30-minute to an hour game. Or some people just hate games that go over an hour. They would rather have 8 15-minute games than 1 2-hour-long game. But then there are people out there that you want that one swingy back and forth interactive 2-hour game over than like a 15-minute game where your deck did nothing and you're just waiting for your deck to do like one thing at all. Prodigy says these bans are based. My Slicer is going to miss Jeweled Lotus. I'm going to miss Jeweled Lotus. I use proxies when I am playtesting decks, so I'm not spending $150 on a deck that flops. I'm pretty sure you could be pretty confident Mana Crypt has got your back. Yeah, so anyway, a lot of people do love it. It is above, I think it's above the threshold. There's more people that love it than hate it, and then there's about 26% that are impartial. Okay, we got to do a poll on Mana Crypt. Let's start a poll. How do you feel about Mana Crypt ban? Love it. Meh, hate it. Go wild. My coffee crew, go wild. Now we talk Jeweled Lotus. I have to admit, I liked this card. If nothing else, it was like the only opportunity I ever had in my life to cast something that was close to Black Lotus. Like, I never started playing in 1993. I never got into like the vintage format even around the year 2000. Like, I was just too poor of a kid at that time to be playing those really wrong name on poll. Whoops. What did I put on here? Poll's good. No good. End poll. End. Backspace. Okay, start poll. So anyway, I really love Jewel Lotus because it gave me the first and only opportunity to play with a Black Lotus outside of like a vintage environment. How do you feel about Jeweled Lotus ban? Love it. Meh. And hate it. Okay, go wild. Coolibri! Nadu is easy to change and fix. I don't get how so many knowledgeable Magic players and Wizards of the Coast themselves don't get that. Just put a second before the last phrase so ability can only trigger. The problem with Nadu is they admitted that they just made a last second change. They didn't play test it at all, and it's just like, that's just what happened. It was a very large change. It was a very, very large change from the original design, and like, whoops! Just this. Whoops! This is a mistake. It happened. Now they're fixing their mistake. And they're banning it all over the place. Scoops MTG, why have a commander ban list if Rule 0 exists? Because nobody follows the damn thing. That's the problem. It's like, there is rule that exists. If you have a good play group that abides by the Rule 0, then great. But you know what? I'm of the opinion that Rule 0 doesn't work very well. If you go to a game store and you only brought your super fast, powerful deck, or relatively fast, maybe not necessarily powerful, but a fast deck, and everyone else just has slow decks, like, what are you going to do? I mean, personally, for me, if everyone said, hey, I'm playing a slow, anemic deck, I'd be like, okay, I'm just not going to play very quickly. If I have fast mana, I will ban it until turn 6. Like, I'm willing to play along with the play group. I've done it many times before. But also, I have really fast mana in like a Merfolk deck. Like, my deck is very powerless at that point. Yeah, if the pod agrees, but there's a lot of situations where you're at a local game store, you're not with your like close buddies, and like the pod is just like 4 random people, right? So anyway, they need to have these bans to more or less curate the environment that they want in the first place. In my opinion, I don't play this damn format, but I listen. I have ears, all right? I am a YouTuber. I have a comment section. I hear the feedback from many of you, how the environment works. Not that I dive into it very often. Mike is like, the Jewel Lotus feels bad. Was made for the format. Love the monocolored commanders, but that's a thing. This card was good in the multicolored commanders that were very expensive. Want more creativity? Just ban Thasses and Breach. Make people bring more win cons. Well, the thing, they didn't do this to ban creativity. They did it to ban power coming out like immediately turn 1 and turn 2. Epic Nate, thanks so much for your super chat. Can you look at the full commander ban list and talk about what we think could be unbanned? I've had many shows like that, Epic Nate. Maybe we'll do another one in the future, but at the moment, I just wanted to stick to the topic on hand today. Thanks for the super chat. Okay, how do we feel about the Jeweled Lotus getting banned? That one, wow. Okay, more people hate it than love it. We have at 36%. It's close. It's 50-50. It's possible that this was not a correct banning. It's a bit of a weird ban. I mean, this might split the commander ban list in two. People who, I want to play with the broken artifacts. And then there's other people like, I don't want to play with the broken artifacts. We're going to have like 2 ban lists. Turn 6 or faster, and then turn 7 and slower. Those can be 2 different formats. They should have a format. You cannot win the game. If anyone's life total is below 0, or if a card says you win the game or lose the game, like the game continues until turn 7. That could be a new rule 0. Yeah, so that's pretty neat. Thanks everyone for contributing to that. Yeah, I have a serious doubt about the commander committee, honestly. Well, I mean, people say that about Wizards of the Coast, right? I mean, we're not going to be happy about the situation right now, but we're going to replace the cards with other cards and we're going to move on. Or some of you probably don't, like the people who don't even follow the ban list, like, you know, you're not going to care. It was funny, like, I was talking to my play group just as this was happening, and they were like, okay, we can still play with these cards, but then they were thinking, you know what, I could use 2 more slots for something else, so I'm gonna replace it with something else. So maybe we won't be playing with those cards. Okay, Steve Cooper, thanks so much for your super chat. Apparently Canadian Highlander doesn't have commanders. Actually useless card now, Jeweled Lotus. Oh, am I wrong? Canadian Highlander. Oh, is it just a 100 card deck with no commander? Or maybe I'm thinking of dual commander. Oh no, but maybe Jeweled Lotus is banned in dual commander. It uses the vintage ban list. It's a singleton format, which means that outside of basic lands, you can only play one of each copy in your deck. You have a minimum of 100 cards. Can't see where it has no commander, but I'm just going to trust you on that. Do not play the format. I have no idea. Banned in duel? Okay, then maybe this has no purpose. It's dead. Okay, RIP, rest in peace, Jeweled Lotus. You have no chance. Oathbreaker banned Jeweled Lotus day 1. No, I was thinking of what's the format with the point system? But you know, I didn't realize there was no commander in that format, so I'm an idiot. My apologies. I'm an idiot as usual.
God, please, no!
You're Canadian, right? I am Canadian. I just don't play the format. Okay, the reason I'm happy that Jeweled got banned is because I missed to get it when it was $20. Yeah, so a lot of people are super happy about that. Okay, Dragmire. I love Mana Crypt and Jeweled Lotus being banned because my friends have them and I don't. That is evil! Dragmire. Super evil. Thank you very much for the super chat, though. We got Scoops MTG. Just built my girlfriend a cat deck with Jeweled Lotus and a Mana Crypt. Oh my god! Oh no, what happened? That's terrible, Scoops. That's like the whole value of the deck probably just got wiped out in 1 second. And Charlie Peterson, thanks so much for your super chat. Selling a card, then saying it's illegal seems sus. Oh no, well, okay, so first off, Wizards doesn't sell cards to you. They make products, right? Like they didn't directly sell this Jeweled Lotus to you. They didn't directly sell a Mana Crypt to you. I don't know. There's no. I don't think there's any. Was there a secret layer to this thing? No, none of these have secret layers. See, game stores sell you this card. Now, the game store and Wizards of the Coast are disconnected from the RC, which made the decision to ban it. So like you can't confuse the two, okay? You can't confuse the two. Yeah, it's the secret layers. But I look, they don't have a secret layer of any of these cards. Not yet, at least. Imagine, oh man, I wonder if the RC had to contact Wizards in advance. You're not making a secret layer of like any of these cards, are you? You're not making a secret layer, are you? Because we're intending on banning it. Looks like the RC is getting a bill for the lost value of my a bill for the lost value of your cards. I don't think they're gonna take your bill. Maybe Jeweled Lotus is legal in tiny liters. Whatever it's called. Maybe. We're gonna make a format where Jeweled Lotus is legal. It's called the Jeweled Lotus. It's called Jeweled Commander because it's the last format we can play with this thing. My opinion is that as long as there is a noticeable difference between competitive EDH and casual EDH, people are following Rule 0 in some way. There's enough people that look. The Rule 0 in CEDH for the most part is the ban list. You follow that ban list or you don't. It's gonna be interesting what they're gonna do after this. What I am still a little bit curious if CEDH had any they didn't mention CEDH in their announcement. I wonder if it had any influence on this, any at all, because of course they're really good cards in that format. Jeweled Lotus is legal in Commander raids. I have no idea what that format is. All right, there is some fringe Commander format where Jeweled Lotus is legal. Everyone, find Commander raids. Isn't Jeweled Lotus banned in tiny liters? Is anyone even monitoring that format? I thought it was dead. Or barely on life support. Bell, however, the presence of valuable cards in certain sets encourages you to buy the relevant boosters. Yes, and that's why Wizards doesn't want to ban these cards. That is bad for Wizards. Today, this announcement was terrible. If Wizards looked at this poll, they hated every single one of these bans, except for maybe Nadu. They probably admitted that this card is $2. They don't care. There's no money in this card. This card, no money. All right, it don't make money. It don't bring the bacon. They don't care. Dockside, it brung the bacon. Okay, they just have to put a random dockside in a commander product, and boom, making lots of money. Mana Crypt, it make a lot of money. And we also Jeweled, it make a lot of money. They like them. They want the cards to be expensive. They don't want to ban these cards. So like, there is no incentive for Wizards to get these cards banned forever. They would love to make tons and tons and tons more product and flood the market with as many of these things slowly over time. And make sure you like this video. Hope you're enjoying. World coping. This is a therapy session for everyone who got hit. You know, I got hit too. It's a therapy session. It's a therapy. I can't play turn 1, or I can very difficultly now play turn 1 Svelun of Sea and Sky, which is not nearly as impressive. Man, I can't even get like a turn 1 Hawk Ball out anymore. Shorgoth. With the only time I played my Jeweled Lotus, someone simply soared to Plowshare in my commander. Second time. That's the consequence, you know? So there is some downside for going for it. But if they don't have that sword, so you're also in the money. Moose on the loose. Ban the One Ring next. Ooh. Are people really... Do people hate the One Ring in Commander? We hate it in Modern. We don't like this card. We don't like this card in Modern at all. F this card. It's a big problem. Let's get a bit of a poll on the One Ring. Just curious how Commander players feel about this card. Should the One Ring be banned? Oops, what I can't write? No. Oh, there we go. Should the One Ring be banned? Yes, ban it. No, my monies. Sure, some people bought it at $20, but still. What is this? What is this card now? It's at like 200. It's at $150. No, it's at 100. The cheapest version is $100. 100 Skrilla. As a one-off card, Ring is lovely. Also, I think it works so much better in Commander as a one-of, because, well, maybe not. You guys have 40 life, but in competitive formats like Modern, you play the One Ring, you use it a few times, draw like 6 cards, and then as the burden counters get high enough, you play another One Ring, Legend Rule the old one out, and like, oh my god, you get more protection, more cards without taking that much damage, but you're restricted to 1 in Commander. So that damn, you got to get rid of your One Ring in a creative way, or you're going to die to it. And no, make no mistake, you can die to your own cards. Oh, we got a super chat from Winter Fox. Thanks so much for your super chat, Winter Fox. I do like the art on Jeweled Lotus. I loved this one. I thought this was so awesome that I had to own this Jeweled Lotus. I had to get the expensive one. I'm really picky about arts, and this one was so cool. It was so, in my opinion, I thought it was so much better than the original one. But both arts are great. Without a doubt, both arts are great. Thanks so much for the super chat. We got Twisted Lotus. We have Twisted Lotus. Hear me out. Dockside now being banned just adds more flavor to my pirate deck. Arr, matey. There are no laws on the sea. Yar. It's a good attitude. Look, this is an opportunity to replace these cards with probably lands. Put more lands in your deck, fellas. Probably deserve land. Your deck probably deserves more lands than mana rocks. Gustavo's like, I like the Ring in Modern. I'm a Titan player. Oh yeah, of course. Half the decks in Modern play the One Ring. Half of them. It's insane. Ether Snap exists, so the One Ring counter means nothing. Interesting perspective. All right, how do you guys feel about the One Ring? Oh, wow. I didn't know that was so heated. 60% says ban it. Get it out of here. Screw this card in our format. I'm a bit surprised. I didn't know it was that controversial of a card. I hear a lot of talk about Rhystic Study. I hear a lot of talk about Dockside and Thassa's Oracle. I don't hear that much. I hear like a lot of people say, hey, it's a good card. It's a good card in the format. It's like, it's playable. It's strong. It is one of those homogenizing cards. It's like if you don't have a One Ring, well, like, when you're building a deck, it's basically if you want to optimize it, you have to have a One Ring in there. Like so many other cards. Croker Games, I the play pattern with the One Ring is miserable or blink it 1,000,000 times. Yawn boring. Ban it. It sucks. All right. X, no argument there. The One Ring is really annoying. When people have ways to untap it, they only get punished once per turn, but they can draw over and over again. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, this is a weird take. Nathan says, ban anything used in over 5% of decks. Am I right, RC? That is the flesh and blood way of dealing with things. That's how they deal with it in Flesh and Blood. If a card is too popular, or it's too popular and does too well in tournaments, they ban it, basically. I think it gets like a timeout, and then you have to start playing without it for a little while. I think that's a very interesting approach to the ban list, and then the cards can come off over a certain amount of time, which I think is very, very interesting. Milo, they said Sol Ring has plot armor. It is never going. They already acknowledged it. They said Sol Ring is definitely in the same league as Jeweled Lotus, in the same league as Mana Crypt. It is it would be a bannable card by their metrics, but it's going to stay. Sol Ring is part of the format. It's just what it is. It's part of the format. That is an ugly Sol Ring. Cool thing about Sol Ring is there are many Sol Rings you can choose from. I actually don't mind this one. I don't mind. You know what? I think they did great on this art. Who was it? Mike Bierek? Good job. They gave you they put a lot of weight on your soldiers for making this thing. Okay, they're keeping it around because it is the identity of the format. And they do what they say. They don't want too many fast starts, but some people sometimes having a lucky fast start, that's okay. But it's the consistency of that fast start that is a problem. RC needs EDH Uber format. What the hell does that mean? Where banned cards live? No idea what that is. And it's it's $1. So, well, it's a weird thing to ban the $100 card and leave the 0 mana card. But here's the thing: this is a more accessible card. If they ban Sol Ring, that would make the people would be super outraged, probably more outraged than Jeweled Lotus ban, because that's the one. This was the mana rock they could afford. This is the busted. This really should be on the Power 9 of Magic the Gathering cards in history. Probably kicking out Time Twister. Very, very strong card. And this is basically now the Black Lotus that we have access to in Commander. The power level. Okay, we got Lucid. Thanks so much for your super chat. I'm assuming that you meant to pose something with that super chat. What do you have to say? I'm sure you're writing it as we speak. Greg says, agreed, getting into Commander and Standard. Standard is very fast, turns 2 to 3, but at least it's not turn 1. We don't want to be Yu-Gi-Oh! Yeah, we don't need to be duelists around here, losing to people turn 1 winning, even heard of turn 0 wins. No, I think that's a little bit of an exaggeration. A smidge of an exaggeration. Listen, I'll keep an eye out for your comment if you're going to post one. Oh, here you go. Do you think Mana Crypt hurts the colorless decks? I don't know, actually. I would assume so. I would assume so. I mean, this is just colorless mana. Free mana is free mana. All colorless decks want to have access to something. I mean, but I don't know their full toolbox. It's possible they have better cards. It's possible Mana Crypt gets bumped for something else, but I'd assume it's really good. Who we got here? We got Pabno. Threatened to ban any card that goes over $100. That'll keep the price down because people will be afraid to buy the expensive card. That is an interesting social experiment. I actually, that's interesting. How do we feel about banning cards that reach a threshold of $100? And when it goes over $80, the RC makes an announcement. This card is officially over $80 on the marketplace. Warning, warning, warning. And then as it keeps getting bought up, it's banned. And then it goes down. Okay, it's legal. It's banned. It's legal. It would be crazy. It would be it would be very, very interesting. On any given weekend, it might be banned because the price got too high. The average price got too high, and then on any given weekend, people sold the card because it was banned, and then it drops the price. That is that I have never heard of that idea. It's so crazy. It actually might work. It's so crazy. It actually might work. If we start banning cards over 100, then my printer will be working overtime making proxies. Imagine if they decide to ban both card over $100 and reserve. Well, the reserve list cards would be over $100. Make no mistake, if reserve list cards were banned for being over $100, it would bring the value of the cards down. Well, I don't know. Some reserve list cards probably going to stay over $100 perpetually, but it could. So not every reserve list card is $100 is worth $100. That would mean all dual lands would get banned. People would rage quit Commander until it gets under $100, and then they're legal again. Remember, once they went for the right price, you can be legal. It's an interesting idea. Sounds like a way to encourage proxy. People already proxy. Like, we're already living in a world where the cards. This was like $200. It's at $200, and it's got wiped off the face of the earth. Millions of dollars in a blink of a second. Let's, F's in chat for the local game stores that held on to tons of these cards. We have Sharla Kargoth. Card over $100 gets banned, drops below $50, gets unbanned, rise to 100. Yeah, exactly. Repeat the process. Rinse and repeat. And what would be funny are the people who bought it and then it got over 100, or they bought it at $100, so they don't want to sell it. And that's like, there might be an interesting game of like people holding on to their $100 mana crypts, for example, because they don't want to sell it. But because they hold on, the price doesn't drop. And if the price doesn't drop, then it doesn't become legal again. Oh no, Milo! Oh, F's in chat for Milo. Just bought a crypt on Saturday. That sucks. If a card gets too expensive and they still want people to play it, couldn't they just drive the price down by printing it in the new sets? So I mean, they could. No, the idea is if a card is too popular and the price skyrockets too much because of popularity, the price will balance the format out. So if you're printing tons of copies, you're not balancing the format. You're actually just flooding you're flooding the game with all these cards to the point where like it's like Soul Ring. So the idea of the price being the mediator is very interesting because the price is based on demand. And if the demand is high, then many people are playing it. But if the demand gets low enough, then people don't play it. And it creates some sort of equilibrium, is what I'm saying. ACDC guy. Can't wait for my friend's friend to bring his CDH deck to our next casual game with mostly precons and call him out on the illegal cards. Oh, could happen. Mike says, I think if anyone on the RC sold any crypts or lotuses prior to this announcement should be removed from the RC. I have a feeling they went down with the ship. There have been many times Sheldon Menery says, okay, we're banning Primeval Titan. Here are my Primeval Titans. See, I still have them. They diamond handsed it. I think they're fine. Yeah, F to Milo. F to Milo. Bans make sweaty players even more sweaty. Interesting. Get your mana vaults now before they double in price. Would it not be an interesting like, I don't think they're gonna unban these cards, but imagine the backlash to this ban unbans these cards. So like Jeweled Lotus crashes to like $1. It goes all the way to absolutely nothing. Then like, I don't know, somebody buys 100 copies of it for like $1, because like it's not even a big risk to own them at like $1. Get 100 Jeweled Lotuses for $100, and then all of a sudden they unban Jeweled Lotus because they're like, okay, everyone's really upset at this. I understand you're all upset. We made a mistake. Let's unban it. That'd be very interesting. This yo-yo effect of the price. I'm curious to know how far it will fall. And if there's any chance of it ever getting unbanned, but I don't think so. It's probably doomed. Let's see. Anthony's like, I am so mad about this decision, especially regarding the financial value that everybody lost. Yeah, this was a dive. It's like when the One Ring gets banned in Modern, it's like it's going to maintain its value thanks to all you Commander players. Thank you very much, Commander players. We really appreciate you. All hail the Commander players who keep the value of the competitive cards high when they get banned. All hail Commander players. But when the Commander cards get banned, that's where they absolutely crash to nothing. They're just dead. When a Commander card gets banned, that's really the death of the card, effectively. Like, they're in a lot of trouble. There's a lot of cards, like Mox Opal's been banned, Oko's been banned, but they still maintain their value thanks to you Commander players. I have to thank all Commander players out there for maintaining competitive cards value beyond their lifetime in the competitive formats. Majra with the super chat, thank you very, very much. I think that the RC's decision is a good one. Some players simply lack the self-discipline needed for Rule 0 anyway. Armageddon needs to be banned also. Okay. I think a lot of people were following you, Majra, until that last sentence. A lot of people were following you. Some people might still be following you by that last sentence. People would be probably more pissed if they got unbanned. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, but I don't know. How do you guys feel? Okay, let's do another poll. We could do another poll around here. How do you feel if they... Okay, start poll. How would you feel if they unbanned Crypt and Jewel Lotus next month? Great. Terrible. I mean, I'm not getting rid of my cards. I mean, these cards, as far as I'm concerned, these cards are worthless. So I'm just going to keep them for, like, just for the sake of keeping them. Donald says, once a card gets banned, it should stay banned. Unbanning Metalworker was kind of... Oh, did they unban Metalworker? They made some good unbans. I think it's completely fine. Did unbanning Painter Servant make a big deal? Are people salty about Painter Servant being unbanned? Wonder how long it takes MTG Goldfish to say it's banned and adjust the price. Well, MTG Goldfish is not gonna, like, I think the prices on there are based on like TCG player, but they probably should say that it's banned. Let's be serious. If you're a Commander player and you don't know these cards are banned, you're probably living under a rock. Like, everyone's like, did you hear about the ban? Did you hear about the ban? Did you hear about the ban? Here's a link to the ban list. And the linking, and like when for the first hour, you couldn't even read the rules committee page because it was just completely overloaded by people. It truly says, I'd be pissed. They'd yo-yo. They would absolutely yo-yo. Wow. So some people are like, so half of you so far, you're like, this is great. Take back your decision. The other half is like, no, this is not good. If you stick your decision, RC. Austin's like, Nikachu, we need a don't care option for the poll. No, for this one, I want to know your opinion. Wow, broken 50-50. As the format changes, some cards just aren't powerful as they used to be. That's why stuff gets unbanned. So, I mean, obviously, make no mistake, like, people are going to move to Mana Vault, and it's still going to play a very similar purpose. It's not going to be perfect for every commander, but some commanders are just going to replace Jeweled Lotus and Mana Crypt with, like, Mana Vault and maybe some other artifact cards. There are replacements. Of course, they're not as good, all right? We literally lost Black Lotus. Whoops, it's not Black. We literally lost Black Lotus. Black Lotus is gone. Nothing's going to beat Black Lotus. But there are supplements. This is probably going to be the first thing Commander players' videos, like what to replace Mana Crypt and Jeweled Lotus with, and so on. Unban everything. Make Commander a true vintage format. You know, I would be on board with that, Beanpot. I love the idea. Let me actually play with Black Lotus. The Manamies. People laughed at my playgroup for having many bans, but currently Wizards of the Coast has banned more cards than we have. That's interesting. So you must have a very different ban list. Okay, Old Boy says, fun fact, the top 4 most expensive possible pulls in Commander, Masters, boosters as of yesterday were each of a different version of Jeweled Lotus. Ooh! Ooh, 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 ooh. It's not good. That's not good. The value of that product is... So, like, that sealed product is about to absolutely crash in price, too.
God, please, no.
Channel is Commander would be wild. Oh, yeah, absolutely. It'd be super wild, but everyone gets access to channel. Kraken Goblin, you could just make a vintage Commander format. You could do that as well. All right, so people are 50-50 on unbanning these things. So it seems like people pretty happy overall. Dockside is gone, except the red players. No one's gonna bleed their hearts for Nadu, and people are pretty split on the Jeweled Lotus and Chrome Mox, because these were the cards everyone had. You know, like, you had to be a red mage to play Dockside. You'd have to be a sick Simic player to be playing Nadu. But, like, if you are anybody playing any deck, you played Mana Crypt, you played Jeweled Lotus. So, the only people who didn't play these cards are people who don't want to proxy and don't want to proxy and don't want to spend the money. They don't want to spend the money. Everyone who has a budget of $50 a month, they're like, yes, yes, ha 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 ha. Who's laughing now? Effectively. Thanks for the super chat, Bryce. I appreciate it. I'm excited Crypt is banned. Bryce, a little happy that the power level of this format has gone down. Way less likely to have that turn 1 Rhystic Study. So I wonder, like, is like, they didn't say anything about Rhystic Study. They didn't say anything about Thassa's Oracle. They said nothing. It's like not even on the radar. I mean, it's on their radar. They know. They're not idiots. Like, they know these cards exist. They know people are pretty upset by them, but they didn't say that they're going to take any action or even looking at them. Crypt and Jeweled Lotus are no different than Sol Ring. RC are just blind fools because it's too normalized, and Wizards of the Coast pled to them not to ban Sol Ring. Well, I think a lot. Here's the thing. Okay, here, what? I don't. Did we have a poll about this? How? Okay, hold on. Let's do it. Let's do a Sol Ring poll. How do we feel about how do you guys feel about Sol Ring getting banned? I don't know if we did a poll on this. Should they ban Sol Ring? Yes, ban it. Meh. No. Love it. There we go. Because I think this card, people love fast mana. Let's be serious. People do love fast mana. Not everybody, but people do love fast mana. Sol Ring is a little bit more reasonable than, say, Mana Crypt. But on the other hand, they admitted it is definitely in the same range as Mana Crypt and Jeweled Lotus in terms of power level. But it's just part of the format. The format began with this. The format was forged around the Sol Ring. The Sol Ring to rule them all. Sol Ring turn 1 is way worse than Jeweled Lotus. In the right deck, you're right, actually. Shorgoth, you're actually right. In the right deck, Sol Ring can be worse. In Vintage Cube, Sol Ring is often better than a Black Lotus. Sol Ring is fine because everyone can afford it, unlike Mana Crypt and the Jeweled Lotus. See, that's another thing. There's a lot of people, they just don't like the expensive Mana Rocks because they're just pricey and expensive. Takumu! I really wouldn't miss Sol Ring. I don't think it needs to be gone, but wouldn't hurt if it was. There's a lot of people who just don't play Sol Ring. They just don't believe in this card. They rather ramp with their lands and not with their artifacts. Artifacts, they can be destroyed. They can be destroyed. They can be stolen. They can be turned off with Collector Oof and Null Rod. Whereas lands are a funny thing. They're almost indestructible because nobody wants to ban those cards, you know? Or sorry, there's a lot of animosity around like Armageddon, just like Majra. Majra doesn't like Armageddon, all right? There's a lot of people that don't like Armageddon. So just like regular ramping with lands is actually more broken in some cases than Soul Ring. Anthony's like, I don't see the difference between Soul Ring and Mana Crypt, to be honest. They feel like the same power level to me. I've died to this thing so many times. I can't even tell you. My life total gets to like 12 and I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna die to this stupid Mana Crypt. If the game goes long, I'm just toast. Whereas with like Soul Ring, I never die to this card. My life total will be high and dry. I'm happy. Okay, how do we feel about the banning of Soul Ring? No, it's too popular. 46% of people say we're keeping it. 32% say ban it. That's interesting. That's somewhere in the similar vein as, you know, it's close. It's closer than I would think. You Commander players are super polarized. It's even more reason to have separate ban lists. Like, slow fair commander, busted broken commander. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But the RC doesn't want to have two separate ban lists for one reason or another. David, if your mana doesn't mostly come from one toughness mana dorks, you're not playing fair. And even then, those one toughness mana dorks. Oh, one tough. So what's it called? You're taking shots at Delighted Halfling. I think Soul Ring is okay mainly because it's pretty cheap. Nah, it doesn't matter. Like, some cheap cards are supremely busted. So I mean, either it's fair or it's not fair. They want Thoracle to stay because it's a clear win con, which is better than some non-deterministic ones. They have a waste people time meter for banning a card, and they say Thoracle leaves time. The problem is, like, Thoracle can be executed like almost immediately. I see like turn 1, turn 2 kills with Thoracle because it's so efficient of a win condition. They're rare. They're rare, but it happens. Personally, I don't mind, like, if I'm playing casually, I don't mind turn 2 kills. Okay, you killed me in 2 turns. We'll just shuffle off and play another one. I guess that's a problem if you can consistently turn 2 kill every single time. That's a problem. They were just never playing Magic, period. Philblood streaming. Imagine a 1 toughness dork surviving an entire round of EDH. There's a lot of 1 toughness hate out there. Mic is off. Mic quality. My mic. Oh, what happened to my sound? Hold on. Let me look at my settings. Looks like everything's fine here. How about now? Is it good now? Unfortunately, you guys are on a delay of like 30 minutes. How do I sound now? It fixed for a second when you grabbed the mic. Oh, I think, oh, maybe I just had to be closer to my mic. Okay, I don't know. Maybe it's a streaming thing. Maybe there's a streaming problem. We got Rorschach. Thanks so much for the huge super chat. Cost of the card. Comps between Ring, Crypt, and Jewel Loudest aren't the argument. Problem is when a person gets 2 or all 3 plus other ramp like Felwar that lets players jump to 10 mana on turn 2 is the issue. Density, absolute. You're 100% right about this, Rorschach. So, like, you know, just having like 1 Soul Ring, it's strong, but not too bad. If you can combine it with other like fast mana, like Jeweled Lotus or Mana Crypt, that's when it becomes a super huge problem. If you can start playing like, I don't know, 7 to 8 mana commanders very, very early on in the game. Sounds like a loose case. I don't. Is it still sounds bad? There's nothing wrong on this side. It doesn't look wrong anyway. Sound is better now. I think it has something to do with the stream. You got a bad connection. Plug, unplug, or move the mic around. Right now it's okay. Oh, you're right. This thing, my cable is completely out. That's insane. I don't even know why. Oh, I must have touched something and it loosened up. Thanks so much, Pedgeman. Yeah. I can't even believe you could hear. The cable was like completely off. I don't even know how you could even hear me. No, it was good. No, it's good now. Yeah, definitely a physical cable connection thing. That was weird. Okay, I have no idea how that disconnected. Make says, like, as a guitarist, I knew. You knew. You're right on the money here. Fast mana wastes time. Well, wastes other people's time, that's for sure. Okay, we got Soul Ring will be less harmful now that Crypt is out. Well, it's still gonna give people like really good starts. You can't allow that kind of nuts draw where you have such and such opening hand just win. We are so back. Because I am the Nostradamus. I can hear you even when your stream is off. I suppose so. It sounded like a different mic was picking you up. Oh, yeah. I have two mics connected to an amplifier because I have a second microphone for my brother. You probably think I sound louder now. Maybe I should use both mics. How does that sound? That seems so ridiculous. I would literally be the only, like, what's it called? I'd be like the only content creator with two mics in front of me. We going doubles, baby. Oh yeah, so if you didn't hear me out of one, you could hear me out of the other one. Still same volume? All right. Amplifier is good at, or the SM7B is good at neutralizing everything. Okay, back on the banning. We've got to keep talking about bannings. Okay, what else do we have to say about this? So okay, there was a second half to this that I want to look. Let's look at the quoted retweets. Let's see how other people feel about all this. Quoted retweets, people. I'm not going to see this video. Okay, it's time to go. Were we good direct to EDH cards? No, absolutely not. And then the Grim Reaper just goes by. See what other people have. Ooh, Brian Kibler. I feel like banning Crypt and Jeweled Lotus is a huge miss. Some people like playing a high-power commander, and these cards are part of that. They are a Rule 0 issue, not a ban list issue, and to ban them and leave Sol Ring legal is just nonsensical. Definitely a lot of people in the crowd today felt very similar to this, to Brian Kibler. They should have banned the dual lands. They do nothing for... What? It's about to make Legacy expensive. Legacy is going to be expensive one way or another. Woke Freak wants him dead. Oh, God. Okay, thoughts. Okay, Sam did not like the banning. I saw what Sam said about this. Sam was not thrilled. Sam Black. What do you have to say here? I come to expect the Rules Committee to use a light touch and rely primarily on Rule 0. I thought the Rule 0 is overtaxed and doesn't work very well when playing outside of a regular group. But then, despite that, rely on it made sense. Commander is a format where players love stability. Many players have strong attachment to their decks and commanders and plan to play them for years or decades. Collectors take pride in building very expensive versions of their decks over the last few years of a hands-off approach. Players have retreated to Commander when their decks are banned in other formats, like Modern or Legacy, and they are looking for more stability. This is a destabilizing ban because it destroys a huge amount of money in the world. The cheapest Crypt, Dockside, and Lotuses were expensive, and the most expensive were very expensive, and their value came entirely from Commander. The RC isn't obliged to manage the value of cards, but not considering the impact of players is irresponsible. The lost value will be a driving force in many players' reactions. Maintaining the light touch that has built trust and stability, I'd expect either no changes or a Nadu ban. Banning Nadu quickly is safe because no one is deeply invested in it, and it's a really offensive card on many levels. So in an advisory role, I'd have advocated against this change. If I were to take a more hands-on approach to curating the health of the format, I ban Rhystic Study and Thassa's Oracle. This is not coming from a CEDH perspective, to be clear. I think Rhystic Study gameplay is bad in all contexts, and I think Thassa's Oracle is a card that is never okay to play in a casual setting. So it shouldn't even be legal. I hate how cards are shadow banned by Rule 0 rather than just actually formalizing which cards people shouldn't play. However, these changes would be made with entirely different goals than today's changes, and it's clear the RC and I disagree about shadow bans. Their take is that as long as a shadow ban is effective, it is sufficient. I think 95% effective or whatever is sufficient. But we can move on from that. Their goal is to manage the general experience of casual play of the format, and they felt that the early mana swings in the format increasingly led to undesirable gameplay. That sounds plausible to me, and these bans seem like a reasonable way to address that if it's an issue. I have no expertise on whether it is an issue or how often these are played in casual. I entirely believe the RC about their reasoning, and I don't think it was secretly done because of CEDH or anything like that. Now, from a CEDH perspective, I've said before that the bans in the format are arbitrary, and the point of the format is to exploit the implications of a set of decisions that ignore it. Nothing has changed there, and exploring the new format will be fun. This will lead to a better metagame? Hard to say and very subjective. There's much less reason to play red, and the Nadu ban was important given the other bans. Ultimately, I think CEDH players are the most hurt by this. They're the ones who are invested in the expensive cards, and they're the ones who would have decks invalidated rather than just weakened by this because they need to be at a certain power level to exist. Every deck I was regularly playing became unplayable. For me, that's fine. I don't care about the lost card value, and I look forward to building new decks, but I'm sympathetic to players who are much more negatively impacted. I expect some players to leave the format, at least temporarily, and I get that. I can imagine this reinvigorating efforts to create a different entity to manage CEDH because players don't want this to happen. I still believe that this would be short. I still believe that would be short-sighted. There are upcoming tournaments. I'm planning to play one this weekend. I can imagine tournament officials being tempted to say that they won't be using this updated list yet. I also think that's a mistake. I think CEDH has to fully support and ride or die with whatever the decision the RC makes. For better or worse, it's just essential to the format's nature and health. That would hurt attendance for this week while people don't necessarily have time to find new decks, but I think it's just best practice. Oh, and also, particularly dislike the Lotus ban. There was a time when I thought that was my least favorable Magic card, but I think it does pretty good work at making expensive commanders playable, where otherwise cheap commanders are strong. All right. And that's the take of Sam Black. Not to mention there are many takes. How it feels making a deck now that the 3 most annoying effing must-includes ever made are banned. There we go. So there are people like Matt who said, you know what? These 3 cards banned, it's an opportunity to make, throw something new in the pie here. I'm going to make a new cake. Evan says, seriously, how does a 2 mana cost creature have a cool effect and say win the game on it? Ban Thassa's Oracle. Okay, Rorschach. Huge agreement with Sam Black. Sam Black, 100% correct. Also, it destroys Wizards of the Coast products, as all of those cards were the key anchor hit in many expensive products past, present, and most importantly, future. Wizards of the Coast should divorce this. Well, Wizards of the Coast, I think, doesn't want to have any... you know what? Wizards can look at this too. You know what? Commander players, it's time to bake a new pie or a soup or stew or whatever. And same thing with Wizards of the Coast. It's time to design new cards. New broken cards that are going to take your money. You got to get into them while they're $10 now. You have another opportunity. If you didn't think you had a chance of getting a Dockside or a Jeweled Lotus when it was like 10, I don't know what was the cheapest a Jeweled Lotus ever was. Let's get back to Jeweled Lotus. It appears it was as low as $70. Okay, we never had a chance. It never happened. Jamie's like, wait, so my proxies are worthless? Your proxies that you bought for $1 to $5, yeah, they're now less than $1 to $5. So Icholi says, no, don't be a corporate shill. This is good for the health of the game. Well, it's going to create change. Some people are happy about the bans. Some people hate the bans. We got Ecos. As a CDH player, I proxy. We all encourage this. Most CDH tournaments are proxy friendly too. Not sure about this value argument. That's true. Well, let's make no mistake. Some people like buying the real cards, right? They like to buy the real cards. Tendo, worst decision with fallacious reasons. They don't want to ban Sol Ring because the precons of the next set are already printed. Let's ban all mana rocks, then infinite combos. It's hard to ban, you know, honestly, it's really hard to ban all the infinite combos because there's an infinite combination of infinite combos. Okay, we got William. Soul Ring not banned because it is printed in every Commander precon by Wizards and is already printed in Commander decks yet to be released, and for no other reason. I think that, look, in Legacy, there's a lot of broken cards in Legacy, all right? You want to do a roll call? Okay, Brainstorm. This card, absolutely busted. It's like 1-mana Ancestral Recall in that format. Days, actually also supremely strong in that format. It's basically 0-mana counterspell. You think, like, we don't have fast mana, or there's not as much fast mana in that format, so Days actually does a lot of heavy lifting. But these, like, no one wants to touch these cards. No one wants to ban them because they're part of the identity of the format. They've been in the format for, like, for forever. They're just the soul of the format amongst many other cards in Legacy. And I think and the same thing with Soul Ring. They admitted it's powerful. They admitted, like, all these Soul Rings are ugly. All right, well, let's look at Miku Soul Ring. But it's part of, there is something to say. It's part of the identity of the format. A lot of you love your Soul Ring. You know, you have good memories of your Soul Ring. You love getting your 4-drop commander out on turn 2. And you can't do that without Soul Ring. You can't do it without Soul Ring. So I don't think it is strictly the same. Like, they could communicate with Wizards of the Coast, like, hey, we're going to ban Soul Ring. Stop putting in your commander decks for, like, the next, like, after, like, just stop right now, and then we're going to ban it next year. I imagine they have that power. All right, what else? Breaking fast mana too fast. Absolutely. Oh, I don't have, like, a fast sound effect or whatever. Brainstorm and Days are important for balance. Not necessary. You know what, Fred? Actually, cards like what's it called? Cards like Psychic Frog are going to get banned because of Days. Cards like Dreadhorde Arcanist are also banned because of Days. Sonic the Hedgehog has hundreds of soul. Hundreds of soul rings. You're right. Hundreds, thousands. Darkstar Shura, thank you very much for your super chat. I think if they were going to hit Lotus and Crypt, they should also have hit the One Ring and any cards like Gaia's Cradle and Tabernacle. Oh my god! You chose violence today. You really chose violence, Darkstar Ashura. Your card's expensive. We're gonna ban them, says Darkstar Ashura. Well, look, it's okay to have expensive cards in the game. Remember, you can still proxy the cards. You have the Mario Kart starting line set. Oh yeah, we do actually. You're right. Fast mana too fast. Now banned Commander. I big remember that people behind this decision are in fact people. And anyone being outwardly hostile to anyone over this announcement should step away from the internet for a day. No doubt about that. They're doing their best. They're doing, you know, the format that you all absolutely love. It's curated by these people, and for better or worse, the game is going to continue for the better. It's going to move forward. We're going to get through this. Okay, Patrick Sullivan, probably gameplay net positive, but brutal to ban 3 cards that probably represent some of the most expensive cards owned by a sizable minority of the player base, all of which have been either designed or leveraged by Wizards of the Coast to monetize the format. I would say this is a way bigger hit to Wizards of the Coast and local game stores than probably the players. It's like all their products now suck. Just press the pedal and start banning. For Ginka, based on our results, the whole Commander community is split by this decision. Oh, absolutely, which means it's basically W for them since community as a whole doesn't hate the change. Well, I mean, we're going to move on. It's like first time getting a cards banned. The only thing that hurts about these is like I like cards like Mana Crypt. I thought they would just live in this format forever. I didn't think they were gonna ban this card. Like it's just like you guys said, you know, Soul Ring legal, Mana Crypt banned. Like I thought this was the format to play these stupid, disgustingly broken cards that you can normally not play outside of like you basically can't play in Modern or Legacy. Even those formats are incredibly powerful themselves. Crackle Gotham, replace your cardboard with other cardboard. Plenty of other good cards. There are plenty of other good cards. Yes, after a few days, after the feeling of pain, you recovered from the pain.
No, God, please.
You're gonna wake up and say, all right, what other 2 cards can I put in my deck? Kathan Griffith, thank you so much for the super chat. Sensei Divining Top could be next for the ban list? I don't think so. It's a super slow card. So we could look at Sensei's Divining Top for a second. How do we feel about Sensei Divining Top? I think it's banned in competitive formats because it's really dirtily and slow, but you have unlimited time in Commander, so it's really not that big of a deal. I don't think it's a power level issue. It's a nice card. It smooths out your draws, but you know, smoothing out your draws I don't think is broken in Commander yet. It says Sensei Divining Top could be banned for slowing the games down. What did Ryan Harris say? There should only be 1 ring or no ring, and it should be Soul Ring. Ban the 1 ring. There could be only 1 ring, the Soul Ring. Mina Kami, how do you ban a card for Commander? I thought it was supposed to be casual and fun format. Insert dirtly noise here. Oh, you want a dirtly noise? Okay, hold on. How dirtly do you want it to be? Titanic sound effect? Well, the thing is, people, if you go play at a local game store, like, there is an official Commander policy, right? If you play in either tournaments or you go play at the local game store, you are basically obliged by the Commander ban list. But when you play with your friends in a private environment, like, who cares? You can do whatever you want. Still, there is some legitimacy. There's legitimacy to things like Soul Ring, right? We want to follow the ban list as it is. When people say about any card that it's part of the format identity, then they should ban that card just out of spite. Oh, God. Fox. These bans are clearly for the CEDH community, even though they didn't say that. The casual EDH community obviously has an agreement that these cards are too powerful for casual play. Just out of curiosity, you know, I never thought that these cards were healthy for like competition, things like Mana Crypt and Jeweled Lotus, but I didn't feel like anyone agreed with me. Like, the people who are playing CEDH, they're more like, they have the mentality of vintage players. See, like, I'm more of a legacy modern pioneer player who I like to play with powerful competitive cards, but I don't want the game to be over in like turn 1 or turn 2. But it seems like for CDH players, they're like, yeah, let's go balls to the wall. Let's go play as quickly as possible. Blast off as, you know, if they can go off on turn 1 or 2, yeah, so be it. And they like the high power. I wouldn't even say it's super fast nature. I think CEDH has evolved significantly where people now have like answers to people's answers and people's answers. Like, people are respecting more interaction. People are respecting the potential combos, and the format has more or less slowed down significantly. But now it's just being played at a very powerful level. Still the games are shorter than casual Commander, but they're not done by turn 4. Some people like shuffling. Did you ever get a turn 1, 2 loss because of fast bond? I didn't know what it was, so I said, okay, no, it's never happened to me before. Solution to banned cards: make wizards stop printing stupid cards. That's how they make the money. They like to push the boundaries. They want to print cards that they know you will buy or try to open up in their packs. There's 2 types of people out there: people who buy singles and people who try to open the singles. Take a little gamble here. Lime, in our play group, out of the 3 people who pulled a Lotus, all of their win rates dropped to 0. Oh, God. Darkstar Shura, thanks so much for your super chat. Nikachu, I meant optics. As a new player wants to make a green swarm deck, they think Cradle is a staple, but then see its price and don't try Commander. Darkstar Shura, like, maybe that is sort of true, but the problem is, at every level, people are priced out of Commander, and I think, at least in Commander, there are, if you try hard enough, you're gonna find the budget replacement. There's many budget replacements to Gaia's Cradle. Of course, there is no Gaia's Cradle. It's Gaia's Cradle, but there is still Nykthos Shrine to Nyx. There's plenty. Yeah, of course. There's also, you know, the proxy. Got to teach them how to proxy. But if price was such a big deal, no one would even get into Magic the Gathering. Like a random commander deck is now over $100 if you want to buy a pre-constructed deck. There's no way to bring the price of these cards down. It's just impossible. And if you want to make any reasonable deck, like everyone, I think the average cost to all your guys' decks are probably like $1,000 if you own all the real cards. It's just like there's just no way around it. Yeah, Growing Rights of Itlamok, another great suggestion. So the Growing Rights. So if you're part of the right community, you're following the right YouTubers, you'll find the right replacements. The Itlamok Cradle of the Sun, when flipped, is a Gaia's Cradle by itself. The Rakdos Duskmorn Precon was $80 at launch. Oh, that's pretty good. That's actually really good. If they can get it under $100. Maybe I'm thinking over 100 Canadian dollars. $1,000 seems high to me. Maybe my decks are bad. Maybe we're not adding up all the price. Those every little land, every single card. Like imagine every card in your deck averages out to be like $5. You got like $500 worth of cards. I mean, I guess I was considering people had like maybe one Jeweled Lotus or one Mana Crypt or something in their deck. Some chase rares. Maybe the average price is closer to like 500. Maybe I'm wrong. Flipped is better than Cradle. It at least always taps for one. You're absolutely right. Lucian, you're 100% right. The Nitpicking Nerds do budget replacements for staples. Huge shout out for Nitpicking Nerds. If you need to find someone who will show you the way, go check out the Nitpicking Nerds. They've got a lot of great content out there to replace. They'll probably make a few videos, you know, like 10 cards that replace Jeweled Lotus and Mana Crypt in your deck. Probably 0 cards that replace Nadu. And they'll probably have like 10 cards to replace for Dockside Extortionist. Card number 1, Skirk Prospector. It is also a goblin. Yeah, hold on, let's get Skirk Prospector on here. Skirk Prospector. It's also a goblin you can play early. And the more goblins you got on the battlefield can be sacrificed for mana. My Atraxa deck was about $4,000. You know, that's how it can be over time. Soul Ring is better than Mana Crypt. Change my mind. It depends on the deck. If decks that go long, Soul Ring is undisputedly better. Like I said, I've died to my own Mana Crypt too many times. Way too many times. We got Mr. Budget over here. Mr. Zeros with the $100 to $250 decks. The Goth King, $300. See, that's the thing. I said on average, your average deck. So we have Jeremy over here with the $4,000 Atraxa deck, averaging out for all the rest of you. Rizzo, my CDH deck at the moment is $9,300. That's absolutely insane. Holy crap. It's got to be with foils. Oh, no, you could have a Time Twister in there. What is it? Time Twister and like $300 worth of other cards? Starfire Dragon says, I like Prospector better than Extortionist and Goblins. There you go. Solution, play Pauper. If you want to play for cheap, you go play the Pauper format. That works too. All right, let's go back. Let's look at more quotes. I like the quote. I love quoted tweets more than reading. I like reading quoted tweets more than actually reading the comment section. Brian Cook. I know I'm late to this, as I just woke up from a procedure, but god damn, this is awful. Banning Mana Crypt is removing part of what EDH says CDH is all about. We got Caleb Durward. Mana Crypt feels so weird to me. Card has been in the format for forever. Why now? I know. I mean, that's why it was such a left. It was out of nowhere. Just absolutely out of nowhere. Of course, everyone is pretty split on it, so maybe the rules committee, they had a sense that people didn't like how fast people had these busted starts. Dockside and Lotus are much more recent design mistakes, but their bans also took way too long. The longer you wait on something like that, the more people think it's safe to buy it. I also 100% agree on this. Like, I hate it when mostly Wizards of the Coast. I'm not gonna complain about the RC on this, but Wizards of the Coast, they're like, They know they're gonna ban a card, but they're like, we're gonna let people keep buying it for like who knows how long, and then they slam the ban hammer on it. I hate it when Wizards does that. Completely awful. Lime's like, my average is $50 and you make a commander deck. What is it? Full of basic lands? But so many of my decks have varied or gotten updated over years. I bought the AC Precon for $15. That's amazing. Hunter Strong asked me, hey, Nikachu, hope day is going better for you than me with these bans. Hey, I'm in the same boat. Just say, full disclaimer, we are in the same boat, all right? I don't play Commander nearly as much. In some way, that's a bad thing because I didn't even get the full value of these cards. Like I said, I put this on the battlefield like 4 times in my life. 4 times! I got Mana Crypt often, though. I'll admit, I got a lot of Mana Crypts. I got good use out of my Mana Crypt. So somehow I don't feel nearly as bad because I don't play with these cards regularly. So I'm not thrilled that the value just went to 0. But we're in the same boat here. It's a therapy session today. It's a therapy session. Everyone come in for some therapy. Okay, Niall, count your effing days, Nadu. You are running out of legal formats, you little shitbird. Niall ain't wrong. Sick robot. Rest in piss, Nadu. This is the best change to CEDH ever, in my opinion. It addresses so many of the issues that I've had for the past 5 years. Some people just never liked the Dockside Extortionist. His name said they ban it because of its explosiveness, but yet refuse to ban Sol Ring because it's an iconic card. It's marketing and greed. Remember, the RC has no financial connection here. They have no greed. Wizards is equally not as happy as us. The same thing. Will you keep playing them in your pod? It depends what my pod wants to do. Honestly, I would prefer my pod goes complete no ban list. Like maybe we can have some restrictions, but we seem to be fine with like sticking with the ban list. I don't know. It depends. But my pod seems to be pissed with the decision. They don't seem to be happy overall. Overall, they're not thrilled with this ban. You want to use these cards, folks? Go draft it. Yeah, Vintage Cube. We can't play Jeweled Lotus in Vintage Cube. No commander there. You can still Mana Crypt, still perfectly legal in Vintage Cube. Also legal in Vintage Online if you want to play. Glenn Jones banning multiple of the most valuable cards with no warning doesn't feel stable or considerate of the experiences of everyone involved, but does feel deliberately damaging to a specific audience. Yeah, apparently half of it. Also inducts Rule 0, as these were obvious cards to flag in pre-game conversation. Still, like, Rule 0 is just not a band-aid for everything. Who cares TV? Hey, Nikachu, I pulled a foil Jeweled Lotus from Commander Legends. Now what do I do? Oh, no! Who cares, TV? I have some bad news for you. I have some very, very bad news for you. I can tell you what. You're going to frame that card. You got to frame it. You got to remember the time. You just remember the memories. Remember how you felt when you opened that thing. Just remember how you felt when you opened that thing. You frame it. You just try to hold on to that moment. Because that moment is worth more than anything else. Because it's not worth anything else outside of that moment. But F's in chat for you as well. Max says, what's this weird warning many people talk about? The moment a warning goes out, the prices will plummet, just like now with bannings. Well, the thing is, like, some cards, so like we said earlier, some cards had it coming. Like, for example, if you own Dockside Extortionist, I'm sorry, but like if you bought it for $100, you should have known that it had some chance of getting banned. There was a lot of heat on Dockside Extortionist. A lot of people thought it was a broken card. It gave a lot of people a lot of busted starts. So there was a lot of community pressure against this card. And if you bought Dockside Extortionist, you bought it because of the explosive starts. You knew where this was going. So if I personally bought Dockside Extortionist, I bought it knowing this card could have gotten the axe easily, 100%. But you could say the same thing with Nadu, maybe. It was a cheap card anyways, like, whatever. But like these cards like just came out of nowhere. Like that was a huge shock to the systems. Like who didn't like Jeweled Lotus? Who didn't like Mana Crypt? Who voiced your... I mean, there's always been some people voicing their concerns about the fast mana. I guess they just took a complete axe at it, but it was not nearly as heavy as Dockside, Rhystic Study, Thassa's Oracle. Those are like the big three on they're on the list, people. But the hard thing is like Thassa's Oracle is worthless. Like it doesn't cost that much if they ban it. This one hurt. This one does hurt, but like you have to know what you're getting into if you bought it. Pabno says, I mean, Wizards of the Coast suggested they might ban the One Ring next time, but the price is still staying strong. Yeah, because, well, they're going to ban it in Modern. They're not banning it in Commander. They're banning it in Modern. And they have control over that. And it's going to stay high because it's still going to be a staple in Commander. Like, it's $110 right now. It'll go back down to 80 like it was before. Maybe a little bit lower, but for the most part, it's not going to go anywhere. Again, thank you very much, Commander players, for keeping all the banned competitive cards strong. Strong, strong, strong. We got Hey Whoa. Oh yeah, I found this hilarious. A lot of people are like, is this an out-of-season April Fool's joke? It was like the first thing I read that all over the place. Oh god, Hola. Oh, okay, no, okay, those are safe. If you got a beta Soul Ring, you're still in the money here. It's still good. But it's gonna make people nervous. Like now people, they might not have nearly as much trust in their super expensive cards. Because now they realize, shit, this could get banned. It really could. Nolan says, do you think that Mox Lotus should be unbanned? Mox Lotus isn't a real card. Ryan Harris says, I didn't have an issue with Mana Crypt stuff, but I'm super happy for them to be gone. Add so much more variety to decks I face. You know what? I think people say that at first, but I don't think it's going to change much. People are just going to go back to the old broken, like, Mana Rocks. People are going to go back to, like, the Mana Crypt, the Mana Vaults. There's other broken Mana Rocks people can use. And sadly, those things on are on, Grim Monolith is on the reserve list. There's no business if the game and community are not healthy. Nobody's cards hold value if the format falls off. Well, the format's not going to fall off. This is a very sturdy, strong format. Shargot's like, no, Bruce, you don't get it. I'm not talking about the traders. I'm talking about the players' collections value dropping because the market is unstable. So if you want to sell years later, everything is worthless. It depends. It really depends on the card. In this case, these cards are probably going to crash really hard. Eric, I'm pretty sure the total number of explosive starts, 5 mana on turn 2, that will happen because of these changes get reduced by less than 1%. I actually don't think that's true, but it's just gonna be harder, and people have to. I think if they'll probably have to go after Mana Crypt or not Mana Crypt, Mana Vault, and some other cards. They'll have to go after the replacements that are going to be filled in because they're still very good. Like they're still very, very good replacements. Dockside is €2.69 now. Holy crap. Dockside just crashed. Gemstone Caverns gotta go. It's probably, yeah, it's a good card. Don't get me wrong, it is a very, very good card. Matt's Parades is like, I really want a Mana Crypt now. Well, now you can. You can get it for the low cost of probably $1. I'm just so curious how far these cards are gonna like crash. Because make no mistake, there's people who are gonna still rule 0 play the cards. So maybe Mana Crypt only drops to like $10. Because there is still like there's an underground system of players playing with their own rule 0, a rogue ban list. We got Drude. I don't have a comment about gameplay or if these bans are good or not, since I barely play Commander, but I will say, this is without a doubt the largest amount of money banned out of people's collection in the history of Magic, and it's not close. I actually don't think that's true. It might be Mox Opal. I think Mox Opal at its height was 100. Oh, okay. Assuming everyone only has one copy of a Lotus and one copy of a Mana Crypt. Oh, no, maybe it's true. If you have Dockside, Crypt, and Lotus, this really sucks for the Dockside people. Because if we go, let's go look at, let's go the history of prices. We're at mtgstocks.com. Let's look at the history of Mox Opal. It was super high at one point. Oops. Okay, hold on. Mox Opal. And you have to play with 4 of them. in any of your modern decks, it was only as high as $100. So okay, you know what? I tend to agree. I take it back. At only $100, this is the largest amount of wealth that's probably just disappears in people's collections. Still catching up, but it's just 4 cards in total. There are tons of other broken stuff left. Nothing will change the format. Will still be dumb and stale. You know, it's interesting. You say it's only 4 cards in total, but a lot of people owned multiple copies of the same card. You know, those people who own 20 commander decks? There are a lot of people out there that is like, F this, I'm not switching cards out between all my decks. So they just own 20 copies of a card. And maybe that sounds a bit extreme, but there are people who own like 6 commander decks and literally own 6 copies. I'm sure we're going to see this. Oh yeah, this is great by Glenn. Hands down, it's like Glenn. They banned a card in Commander that was designed for Commander. Yeah, modern players. First time people. 100%. This is, it's a banger comment. They now know our pain. We got Troy over here. I do that with all my 60 card constructed decks. Yeah, you got. Oh yeah, so you have fetch lands for each 60 card constructed deck, like a billion polluted deltas. Hunter is like, I got 3 crypts, 3 dockside, 2 jeweled lotuses. Oh, I'm so sorry, Hunter Strong. We are so sorry for your loss. All right, we got Skimpa says this is what you get when EDH stops being player-driven format instead of Wizards of the Coast taking over. Wizards of the Coast didn't do anything here. Remember, this was a decision made outside of Wizards of the Coast. Wizards of the Coast also got hit by this banning. A rules committee decided on this. These cards crashed in nothing, screwed over Wizards of the Coast. Wizards of the Coast looking at this ban announcement is like, no, God, please, no. They are equally screwed. Wizards should take the helm. You know what? I actually disagree with that. I actually think the community should take the helm for the most part. The community, it should be held in the like. Modern has been absolutely screwed to no end because Wizards is completely in control of our ban list. Completely screwed. They are so slow with banning cards. They're also slow with unbanning cards. It's insane. Pauper and Legacy are much better because they are more community driven. We got another super chat from Rorschach. Thank you so much for all your super chats today. I really, really appreciate it. This SC brought to you by 6 FALJs. I have no idea what the hell you're talking about. One, SC, it's not Soul Ring. What does SC mean? Okay, I know 6. What is FA? I know JL is Jeweled Lotus. I sold last week. Should print their way out of this mess. Ragavan, Glittering Thief, 2/1 RGT deal. Combat damage. Instead, exile target controller. Art equal less to toughness. I'm sorry, Rorschach. I can't read your super chat. Oh, sorry. This super chat brought to you by 6. What is FA? It's not dockside extortionist. I don't know what FA means. Okay, yeah, okay, I got that part. The super chat. Yeah, okay, yeah. This is like an encrypted message that I'm trying to decrypt at the same time. Oh, foil art jeweled lotus. Okay. Okay, this super chat brought to you by 6 foil art jeweled lotuses I sold last week. Wow! That was absolutely insane. You sold out at just the right time. Should print their way out of this mess. Ragavan, Glittering Thief, 2/1 RGT deal combat damage. Yeah, okay. Thanks so much. Thanks for sharing your foil jewel lotus money with me. Yeah, the text is a Rorschach test. What do you read? It's whatever you want it to be, essentially. It's whatever you can imagine. It's the real Rorschach test. Okay, next up. We got Rachel. Coalition victory still banned. Thassa's Oracle still legal. Fundamentally unserious format. Elliot! Is he on the RC? Oh no, so that RC, sorry, RC means regional championship here. The Commander RC should be wildly applauded for taking such a big swing today. These bans are awesome. Elliot, very happy on team love banning. Jim Davis. Sort of actually I'm actually in the same boat as Jim Davis. I am very happy to eat the popcorn and watch the drama unfold today. It's not to say it hasn't affected me. Remember, as a fact, I am affected. But I don't play this format enough to care. Time to add Infect back to Nekusar to make up for the explosiveness. Oh god. Me and Broly's like, obviously not as powerful, but I feel like Sarah Ascendant could have been in here since they focus on turn 1, turn 2 being too much. Oh, come on. Sarah's Ascendant is not broken, even in the slightest. Okay, Brian is like, wow! Wasn't expecting this today. Big shakeup for CEDH. Also, for the first time, I've personally felt the financial fallout of a ban announcement. I'm in the same boat, Brian. I'm in the same boat. Usually my card, the first card that ever got banned for me was Oko Thief of Crowns in Modern. This is the second time. This time it hit me hard. Holy crap. Okay, Wizards of the Coast has been pumping Crypt and Jeweled Lotus at us as chase mythics in specialty sets for years. Now they are worthless. So talk, old basic lands need to be banned. That sounds terrible. Blood Moon and Harbinger of the Seas and Magus of the Moon will take over. Robert says, ultimately, these bans shouldn't affect your casual mid-power tables. Anyone who sits down with any of these cards and claims to be mid-power is part of the problem, as with EDH as a whole. You know what, Robert? You hit something hard on the head. Bans like Mana Crypt and Jeweled Lotus, they are meaningless. They are strategically meaningless, except for maybe for some expensive commanders in CEDH. Like, you just replace these cards with other fast mana. It won't be nearly as fast, but it's still going to be fast. It's still going to be useful. One way or another, it's either going to be a little slower or a little bit more clunkier, but that's the worst it's going to get. That's the worst it's going to get around here. Brian gets it. Brian does get it. True Basic Island can help cast Counterspell. Absolutely busted. You heard it here. We got BD Tetra. Ristic definitely should be banned. I think they need to maintain a watch list through outside of a ban list. It's not a bad idea. And make no mistake, Ristic Study is definitely being looked at. They know, okay? They know everyone's feelings about Ristic Study. They know everybody's feelings about, and a lot of people will talk about their feelings here. They know Ristic Study, Thassa's Oracle, they're hearing you. Okay, we got Comedian. This was not what I was expecting today. I've been looking around and searching for the just kidding. Comedian, maybe not so thrilled about this BNR announcement. Got Phil Gallagher from Thraben U. This is a massive W for casual commander play that has the side effect of giving CEDH an overhaul, and I'm for it. But I've certainly got some deck tuning to do now. All right, Phil, gonna get back to work. Gonna get back into the trenches here. We got Murph. I have many thoughts, but at the end of the day, none of these cards make Commander better. I think this is an overall net positive for the format. Jimmy is like, I don't get it. Jimmy doesn't get it. But why? But why the Mana Crypt? Why did we have to lose Mana Crypt here? If Ristic Study is banned, ban 3 Visits and Nature's Lore. I have no idea what those are. Smothering Tithe is the worst. That's also a card probably on the watch list to some degree. You should do a show where you look at land cards. Oh, we've done it so many times. We'll do it probably so many times in the future too. Not the Zilla. Turn 2 Craw Quem is still a turn 2 Craw. Still a turn 2 Craw Worm. Did you mean to say Craw Worm the first time? Are there any other cards that should be banned in EDH now? We'll see how if this slows games down. This slows the powerful starts. Whoop! I lost my spot. Okay, I got my spot back. We got one more mana. Be honest. These card names sound like a rogues gallery that should give Batman a hard time. Okay, let's go to Reddit now. I want to go to Reddit. Shall we go to Reddit? Let's go to Reddit. They've got memes. They've got reams on Reddit. Okay, this is good. Can only be played in Commander. Gets banned. Is this the first 2-hour stream that's not a custom card stream? No, I think we went over the limit on the last BNR announcement, but maybe it's not. Everyone liking the conversation? Everyone liking the therapy? This is a therapy session. Green is so busted now. If you play green, it's RIP. You will never catch up the ramp. It's possible. That's why more people should play Armageddon. You should do more streams like this. If the news is big enough, I have no problem doing it. But the news has got to be big enough. I used to do news. This channel used to be a news show, but the news usually isn't big enough. Oh, we got so just cross out that mana crypt, put a 1 soul ring. If you want to keep playing with your super fancy arts, there you go. This is a custom way to do it. You can just modify the what's it called, the inner sleeve. You don't have to do it on the outer sleeve. You can do it on the inner sleeve. We got the inner sleeve over here. See it? Glossy. You just take a Sharpie and boom. In fact, I could do that right now. I can do this right now. We got it. There we go. There we go. I got an extra soul ring in my deck. I got an extra soul ring. It's beautiful, isn't it? It's absolutely beautiful. I should probably just write it at the front, at the top. There's enough space at the top. Soul ring. The one ring to rule them all. I'm learning. This is great. So that's what we can do with our mana crypts now. They might end up being worth less than a soul ring, so it's totally possible. Let's hope it doesn't leak through. It's not. The plastic is strong. It's some crappy plastic if it somehow leaks through. The committee definitely should be more proactive with bans. There was no reason they needed to wait years to ban these. That way, people also could have less risk spending a lot of these on expensive cards. You know what they could have done? Another way. You know what? In my experience, it's something that makes it easier on the bans. So this is on. Oh, why is it a spoiler? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. No. I don't know what those are. Uh-oh. Sorry. It's not. Did not mean to do that. Leak. Everyone close your eyes. I thought that was going to have something to do with the Jeweled Lotus. Okay. Oh, I love this. This person says, what to do with Jeweled Lotus now? What to do, everyone? What are we going to do with Jeweled Lotus here? I don't know. Who's going to tell them? Who's going to tell them? I'm not going to be... What are the answers? Use it as a treasure token. If you wait a bit for the price will drop low enough, you'll be able to snag multiple copies too. Yeah. Honestly, the price memory of the card probably won't let that happen, especially... Well, I'm very curious about the price memory of the card because it's going to crash. I just don't know how far it's going to crash, if it's going to get to the bottom. Pray that it gets unbanned. Jeweled Lotus will make for a pretty bookmark. Yeah, absolutely. We're going to have very pretty bookmarks around here. Who else says? It's now an official Black Lotus proxy. That is an excellent answer. Yeah, Jeweled Lotus are for heating the house now. We gotta throw it into the house. So throw it into the furnace. We need more 10-cent cards to go into the furnace. Invest a cheap way to learn an important lesson about investments. Well, it was not a very good way to learn. If you live through a ban announcement, it obliterates the value of a deck. You haven't played TCGs long enough. Sorry, them's the breaks. It is true. It just happens. It's nothing you can do about it. Okay, let's take it back to Twitter. I didn't know there was like so much spoiler stuff around here. Wizard Coast fixed Nadu for Commander, and now it's effing banned. Did they fix it for Command? Oh, yeah. That's right. They fixed Nadu for Commander, and then it ended up getting banned anyway. That's hilarious. I didn't even catch that part. Mana Vault already fell like what, 18 to 20%. Oh, it's got a lot more to go from there. It's gonna fall down to the ground. Someone looking at the live prices for like Mana Vault, it's like, holy crap! I don't know. Can I go there? Hold on. Maybe I can look up TCG player. Not Mana Vault. Mana Crypt. Mana Crypt. Oh, are you saying people are selling Mana? Are you saying people are selling Mana Vault? Mana Vault already fell like what, 18 to 20%? Are you saying that thing's falling as we speak, just in case it gets banned? Okay, let's see if we can look at the copies. Holy moly! Okay, so hold on. Did this thing get hit already? How far do they go? This thing's still pretty high. I don't think anyone has anything listed. I think everyone still has like big shock. There's like still a pretty big shock to the system. Okay, hold on. Let's go. So here's a Mana Crypt. There was some price drop, but not significant, somewhat recently. But that was back in August. But it's still like the lowest is like $174. Lightly played. 10 pages. Do I have to look at other copies? I want to see other copies of Mana Crypt. Eternal Masters, no. Printing. Oh, customers also purchased. I don't know. I don't know how to navigate this damn site. That sucks. It's unfortunate. Buyers will be skittish for a while, but prices for non-banned cards should recover. Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, when they realize like those cards are here to stay, they'll absolutely stick around. Would Vintage keep the value of Mana Crypt up? Absolutely not. Now, Cube might. Like, and by keep it up, I mean like it could be like $10, maybe. Maybe not. Maybe it'll be $5. Like, I don't think Mana Crypt is going to become like a $1 card. Like, there's enough people who play Cube that it might be above $1. But I don't think it's going to be completely worthless. So it's gonna sustain something, but it's not gonna be high though. Oh, I'm with Mason here. Unban Tolarian Academy. Ban all the artifacts. Unban Tolarian Academy. Is that a fair trade? People would hate that. that would probably piss off so many people. Don't do that. Don't do that. People will blame me. I don't want to be blamed for this. Mana Vault, the non-banned card, like all major and poorly thought out bans and mass reprints, this destroys confidence of any customer who pays Wizards of the Coast to keep Magic going. We can't be that dramatic here. It can't be. All cards are super expensive, and maybe cards don't get banned very often in Commander. I think, is this the first time an expensive card got banned in Commander? Like, expensive cards get banned all the time in trading card games. It happens all the time. Why do you think cards are so expensive? Because they are good. People gravitate towards the power. They want absolute power. With comes great power, comes a high price. And with a high price and great power, the potential for it to get banned. So I think, but the bans are probably going to be slow. Very, 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 very slow. Probably they're not going to ban a very expensive card for a while. But Mana Vault is still pretty expensive. Like, at the moment, it's like $60. You know? I mean, that's not super cheap. And if they banned Mana Vault for the same reason, like Jeweled Lotus and Mana Crypt, I mean, Mana Vault is like in that exact same territory. Fox is like the Golos ban and Worldfire unban. Oh, I don't know what you're referencing this to. Yeah, Golos was super. Well, I don't know how good Golos was. Golos was popular. That's how I understood the Golos ban. It was like a supremely popular card, and like I don't know why the Golos ban is even a big deal. Isn't there other like colorless cards that gave you a 5-color commander? It wasn't the only one out there, right? It was just the best one, because like when it entered the battlefield, you got lands. Like, it was an incredible form of ramp, and like it basically like cheated the commander tax, right? Yeah, Golos was too universal. Like, one big problem with Golos. Oh, ETB. Get lands on the ballot. Like, hold on. That's how it worked, right? Hold on. Golos. Enter the battlefield. You may search your library for a land card, put it onto the battlefield tapped. Yeah, so it was a form of ramp. So even if it died, I mean, it like helped buffer the commander tax every single time that it went back to your command zone. So it was just like the quintessential best colorless commander that was a 5-color commander. Golos was cheat out free things and paid for itself. Oh yeah, basically. Ecos is like, I still miss Golos. Was fun, make a land your commander card. Wizards of the Coast embracing Commander as a cash printing machine is ruining the actual game of Magic. Commander is undisputedly the most popular. Maybe I shouldn't say undisputedly. I'm pretty sure it is either one of the best or one of the most popular forms of trading card games on the planet. Like, the number of people who play Commander and are so dedicated is enormous. Like, Magic the Gathering is pretty... Like, we're not a niche game anymore. Like, random people hear about, like, Magic the Gathering. At least at our age. Paper trading card games. I don't know. Does Hearthstone even compete with it? Because remember, the player base to Commander is enormous. Maybe even larger than we even know. If I can't play Raphaelis, you shouldn't have Mana Crypt, Lotus, or the dock side. Still have a grudge, Goblin Grundle, for that Raphaelis ban. That's a long time ago. It's a long time ago. It's cute seeing the EDH players complain about the format getting shaken up. Well, you know, these were like staple cards. You know, some people, they have good memories with their Jeweled Lotus. They have good memory. I have terrible memories with my Mana Crypt. It killed me all the time. I had some good memories too with Mana Crypt. You know, it's a give and a take. No, Magic is still top dog in the digital age. I'm pretty sure as a paper game overall, Magic is king, at least in the Commander sphere. Like, we create gigantic conventions of players. You like the long streams, don't you, Pedgeman? You like the long streams. The new game Altered might compete with it. You know what? They say that with a lot of card games, and some are even catching up. We've got, like, you know, Disney Lorcana has a pretty good start. Flesh and Blood has been around for like many years now, still catching up, but like Magic the Gathering is still on top. Still on top. I can't tell how well we're doing. Okay, I imagine the Pokemon TCG player base is way bigger than Magic, but I actually don't think people are playing the game. That's the difference. People collect Pokemon. People do not play Pokemon nearly as much. It's a completely different ball game when it comes to Pokemon. But I imagine that there are more people actually owning Pokemon cards. Okay, Ecos. Oath of Liege's value increased as anti-green tech. Oh, there we go. What's the Oath of Liege's? I have no idea what this is. White 1 generic enchantment. During each player's upkeep, if that player controls fewer lands than target opponent, the player may search their library for a basic land card and put that land into play. The player shuffles their library afterwards. I doubt it. Pokemon players will their slab full art chase cards. Yeah, exactly. Slab cards. It's not so easy to play. It's not so easy to shuffle up a deck of slabbed cards. Some people do it. Altered smells like a complete NFT scam. I don't know. I've actually not very I have no idea what their involvement in NFTs are. There are tons of Pokemon tournaments. There's tons of Magic tournaments. Don't get me wrong, Pokemon, it's got a tournament scene. Don't get me wrong. It's in there. It's in the game. It's in the TCG arena. All right, is there anything else we want to talk about? Did we have a good therapy today? Good memories for me, bad memories for everyone else at the table. That's why some people are very sad about this banning. Max says, players just jamming Crypt and Dockside in every deck is the problem. Oh, absolutely. Well, with great power. Once you get on that tit, Once you suck the power on that tit, you can't get off of it. They never get off of it. What else? Oh yeah, you guys are reminding me that Golos could get any land. Yeah, Golos any land, broken. That was silly. Absolutely stupid. The Golos ban was a bit of an overreaction. Probably not. Probably would deserve to go. Goblin says, I think that AI-generated sets that mimic classic sets will be really something in the future of MTG, like Branching Paths project. Wizards already said they're going to use AI. They are going to use AI going into the future for probably helping them make sets and stuff. So they can pump out more cards more fast. So they'll just do a ChatGPT prompt. Make a mana rock for 2 mana that supports only commander cards and multicolored commanders. And then they'll throw out a bunch of suggestions. Meme Brule says, I gotta swap out my J-Lo. Was that? Oh, that's the name for Jeweled Lotus and Crypt in my Patron of the Moon deck. For one set per week. Yeah, it's possible. We'll get like 1 set per week from Wizards after that. WotC should stop printing cards for Commander and print Minotaur tribal cards. They can do both. You know, they can do both. That's why I play self-destructing cards that try to combine them in a way I don't hinder myself. Right, because you're already blowing yourself up. I think the RC are getting a lot of heat, but this is better for the health of the game and in general. And people are flexing their muscles against Wizards abusing printing practices. I have a feeling one day we're going to look back on these cards and be like, wow, this was crazy. I think there's a point where maybe they ban enough of these super powerful cards that maybe it just creates its own format. Like you just have close to no ban list commander. It's got to be inevitable, right? It's got to be inevitable. I mean, maybe not, but I would think it's just got to be inevitable that people want to play vintage commander as like they do right now. People who got to play with Jeweled Lotus and Mana Crypt, you got to enjoy the vintage era of commander. And it still is a vintage-ish era. Like don't get me wrong, it's still outrageously powerful. It's like insanely powerful. It would be decentralizing like 3D printers of TCG. Oh, that I don't think is going to happen. Nobody always wants to play a 3-hour game of EDH. I think still that it's not going to happen. I still don't think I still think if you want to play a 15-minute game, they're still going to be 15 minutes long. The power level of the cards are still in such a way that still happens. You know, you like the 2 hours is nice though. The 2-hour game. That's what we get. That's why we had the vote. We had the vote earlier between the people who like the 2-hour games and the people who don't. All right. If you have any opinions about these bans, how do you feel about it? Yo, let me know in the comments section below. It's gonna be it for today. I hope people really enjoyed this discussion. I hope it was good therapy. As usual, we do this show 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. Be there or be square. Thanks to everyone who supports the channel. If you're a patron on Patreon, a member on YouTube, or use Super Chat to be part of the show, or even Super Chat so other people are part of the show. Thanks everyone who joined me today to talk about this. I really appreciate it because I don't know as much about Commander as you all do. So I depend on people like Goblin Grundle and Steve Cooper and Rorschach, Steven, Julian, Captain McNugget, X Blitzen, Rizzo, Max, Christian, Meme Brule, Fazzy, we got Christopher, Jess Merchard, Ron L, Crackling Goblin, Kano Bell, B Dedetra, Old Boy, Ecos, for Ginka, Starfire Dragon, Pavno Polrog. I know who you are. Not the Zilla and Bryce. So as usual, my coffee crew, keep brewing up them coffees, and we'll keep brewing up the magic. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you at the next cup.